Hey, my name is Yuri Lowenthal, and you've probably killed me 1,000,000 times in video games. And you're listening to The Gaming Outsider.
Welcome to the Gaming Outsider podcast, everyone. Whether you're a long-time listener or a first-timer, we're so glad you're here. On this week's episode, we're sharing what video game properties we in the Go community would like to see get the animated film treatment after the success of Mario. In news, Blizzard is making some significant changes to Diablo 4 after some beta feedback, and we played a bunch of new games this week, including Beyond the Long Night, Gripper, and Ravenbound. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. It's Sunday, April 16th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends. First off, Mr. Zack Parkerson. What's up, man?
So nice of them to let you out of the home for the week.
Man. And that laughter you hear in the background is Miss Alyssa White, if she can contain herself. How you doing?
I'm doing much better now that I'm with two of my favorite guys or people ever.
So, funny story. I listened to the episode last week before it was edited and before I knew what the intro was. I just listened to the raw footage, and I was like, man, this is a really great episode. They had a lot of fun. You know, they're still making fun of Scott for being old, but it was a good time. And then I go and hear the actual episode and hear the intro that Zack recorded where apparently I'm an old British guy.
I actually haven't listened to the intro yet. I need to listen to this.
Yeah, it would have all over the place, you know?
Yeah, the accent went from it's like an old British man.
I had never done it for that long a stretch of time before you see it.
Is that what it is?
But I tried to avoid using the old man Scott voice for the episode. That way, you know, I would just put it all at the front and got out of the way.
Gotcha. Well, if this is your first time listening to The Gaming Outsider, this is not how it usually goes. We talk about video games, we talk about industry news, the games we've been playing, and a topic each week. So we're glad you're here. If you're a longtime listener, you're welcome. you know what's up.
Also, I'm sorry for my laugh. It's probably horrible, but
no,
it happens every episode.
Your laugh is fantastic, Alyssa. Don't listen to what anybody says.
It's famous. It's podcast famous.
I didn't know it was famous until you guys told me.
We've had people actually ask for your laugh specifically. So yeah, you've got an infectious laugh.
I'll do recordings of my laugh. Just let me know.
So people can have it as a ringtone?
Yeah. Just contact me.
Gotta tell you guys, I had an awesome day yesterday. One of our listeners and my good friend who I play usually on Friday nights with online, Joel Solinsky, celebrated his birthday yesterday. And he was telling our group that he couldn't play on Friday night because he was driving to Madison because he was going to spend the day at an arcade with his wife. And I said, oh, well, I guess my invitation must have been lost in the mail. And he promptly said, oh, no, everybody's invited you. I can all come if you want. And so I showed up.
Very
I
cool.
went to this arcade with him and his wife, Melissa. It was awesome. And then his friend, Jesse, was there as well. This place called Geeks Mania in downtown Madison. I don't know if you consider it downtown, but massive arcade, lots of pinball tables, lots of arcade games. Of course, I had to play Star Wars Arcade Trilogy. Right.
Yeah, this is the first thing I asked you. I had to make sure you played it.
I played it. However, the controls were backwards from the way I am used to playing it. I usually play it where it's inverted.
Right. The correct way?
Yeah, I was this close to scrapping it right at the beginning and going up to the guy and being like, dude, can you flip the switch and make this the right way? Because I still did it.
Well, especially for a flight game, right? That you're flying around.
Well, you're not really controlling. It's more of a turret shooter. You're shooting. Right. You know what I'm saying? You're while you're aiming, it's steering the ship or the whatever or the speeder, or what do they call the things in Return of the Jedi? The speeders. Are those speeders as well?
Speeder bikes.
Speeder bikes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're barely controlling it. It's more of a turret thing. But still, my brain struggled a great deal. Doing that after playing that game for that long. But also I got to play some new pinball tables. I got to add to my Pindigo app. I'm up to 133 different pinball tables I've played now. That was fun. Got a couple PRs while I was there too. That felt pretty good.
Was it PRs for the uninitiated?
Personal record.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've heard it abbreviated like that.
Oh. You usually hear it in sports stuff, if you're especially in track.
So much.
Yeah, I hit my PR for the 5K or something like that.
Oh.
I did play. I've never beaten the X-Men arcade game before, and they had that there, but they had it. I don't know if you haven't seen the picture probably, but they've got it like in a room. It's so large that they've got 2 projectors put together, and then each control is like its own little station with its own cup holder, a giant disc, probably about like 20 inches wide, that holds the controller and the buttons. They've got the board like in a case that you can actually see all the things like right there and under the screen. It's massive. It's like the size of a small room. And we sat down and played through that entire game. So I am adding that to my list of older games to complete for my New Year's resolution. It counts. It's old. I've never played it, and I beat it, so it counts.
I think it counts. Yeah.
Yeah, it totally counts.
Who did you play as?
I played as Nightcrawler.
Okay, cool choice.
Yeah, I just really like that character from, at least, is it Kurt Wagner? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look at you go.
I
like that when he teleports, it says Banff.
But that's the thing that bummed me out about the game is like everybody else, when they would die and they'd do a continue, it would be like Wolverine or Storm. Like mine would never say Nightcrawler whenever I died, so that was kind of a bummer.
Was the audio file just too long? They couldn't get it in the machine back in the day?
I don't know. It's just kind of crazy though that there was like 6-person, isn't it 6 people in that game?
I think so, yeah.
6-person multiplayer all at once is just kind of nutty. Also, that game is got to be the epitome of quarter muncher. The fact that they let you like take your life away by using your special is got to be one of the skeeziest things. That was 90s, right? That had to have been 90s.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like so.
Like you're literally like spending money to use your special ability. Granted, we played the $15 or whatever and got to play everything for free, so unlimited continues for the win. But back in the day, that would have been brutal. That would have sucked.
Me and my buddy Jason beat that game very drunk on whiskey.
Oh, yeah?
One late Chicago night, it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just stumbled him. I had to stumble him back to his apartment. It was freaking cool.
Good times. Anyway, happy birthday to Joel. It was a great time. We also went to this restaurant afterwards called North and South Seafood and Barbecue. Guys, if you ever are in Madison, you have to go to this restaurant. Aren't you the mac and cheese guy, Zach? Like whenever you go to a restaurant?
Yeah, that's the first thing I get. That's how you test the quality of a restaurant.
Okay. I am not a fan of macaroni and cheese at restaurants because my bar is pretty low with Kraft macaroni and cheese. Mm-hmm. And I just have never, it's always either too creamy or whatever. This stuff I wanted an entire bowl of. Like, I didn't even need the brisket and everything, which is wrong because it was delicious, but best macaroni and cheese I've ever had.
So you got some brisket mac and cheese?
No. I got a brisket grilled cheese sandwich, though, which was quite good.
Mm.
Yeah.
And the side was the mac and cheese, and I ate that first, and I was ready to get like 3 more servings of it. It was that good.
Should have.
Yeah, North and South, highly recommend it. Anyway, also we're just a couple weeks away from our March giveaway for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So if you were listening to this episode
and
you'd like a chance to win that, did I say May?
You said March.
Yeah, it should be April. Look at me, Ron Burgundying that again.
That's quite fine. I mean, I was just wondering because we're pretty deep into April.
That's probably like the 3rd week in a row I've read that way, and nobody's ever corrected me. So, thanks,
Jesus
guys.
died and came back already. So, I mean, we're pretty deep into April.
April is our April game giveaway. There's a link in the show notes if you'd like an opportunity to win that. One lucky winner will walk away with a prize of that game. Oh, and speaking of, the copy of Modern Warfare 2 is making the rounds. It's Aaron Peterson now has it. He's playing the campaign currently, and then he's going to pass it on to somebody else. So make sure you join over on Discord.
Man.
We're going to have to start keeping track of where the games are and who wants what and everything. It's I love that the community.
I really should have bought a postcard to put in there so everybody could sign it as it went through the rounds.
Cool.
Maybe I should do that from now on. Maybe we should start something like that, like a postcard, and just have not even like an order, just sign it like a. Yeah. Like this little traveling thing, and to see who's had it. That'd be fun. Like the date you received it or something.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool. Like a little log.
That would be good idea, Zach.
Oh, it is a good idea.
You think Activision's devastated about how we're cutting into their sales?
I'm sure they're just fine. Sure, they're fine. Also, we've been talking about it for a couple weeks, but it's officially official. R2V223 is happening on October 14th. We've got Sissy Jones coming, and we've got John St. John coming, and I'm working on a couple other special guests as well. I actually had to go present to the board for the place that owns the hall this week to work out a deal for us to be able to use their hall, and they've accepted our agreement. So the place is ours. I'm very, very excited, especially at the prospect of Zack and Alyssa possibly being here in town. Could you guys imagine the four of us all sitting around recording an episode together in person?
Sounds ideal.
That just sounds
amazing.
It's going to be a strange energy.
It will be, but it's going to be fun.
I don't know do you think the equipment's going to work with the magnetism between Alyssa and I?
I don't know.
Yeah,
could
we might
interfere.
short circuit it.
Right.
We definitely will not be able to use a compass. So,
Dude, love it. Love a good compass joke. You don't get enough of those.
Anyway, some games that we've been catching up on in the meantime before we get to our new games. Zach, what have you been playing?
Well, in the interest of driving everyone crazy, I beat Red Dead Redemption, the first one, to buy my time before finishing the second one. It was a lot of fun. Great game. Phenomenal story. What an ending, huh? I know we talked about that a few weeks ago. CB was mentioning it.
And last week.
Maybe that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you are.
Time is an illusion.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was particularly fun driving my partner a little crazy because I have the game so memorized. I was just saying the lines as the characters were saying them.
Oh, wow.
That was a lot of fun for me. But then I finally did beat Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm-hmm.
Final mission, sort of, called Red Dead Redemption. Perfect. I don't... you tear up and you cry at games sometimes, but I was straight up had like a fountain from my eyeballs at the end of this game. It was quite...
Really?
It was quite something. There's I guess I don't want to give it away, but there's a moment when you learn that that's the way it is, and oh boy, the waterworks. Let me tell you, and a few times it's really good. And then shout out to everyone who I knew that a thing happened after you beat it, but I didn't realize how significant the thing was. This is hard to talk about. So to people like Alyssa who have beaten it and not spoiled it, impressive work. Because it's significant. Anyway.
You're talking about the first one or the second one?
Second one. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
So what are you going to move on to from here, man? Because you've been talking about Red Dead for a while.
Oh, I'm going to keep playing Red Dead. Yeah. I don't ever really need to play anything else. I'm good. I'm just doing bounties now and just slowly trotting my horse through the trails and just kind of enjoying it. Sometimes I just turn this game on sometimes and just like walk for 20 minutes just to be in the West. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. So
does it make you want to go back and play Gun again?
Well, you might need some distance. I'm not sure Gun's going to measure up quite well.
I looked up. I actually think I bought it on Steam Deck just because I wanted to go back and play it at some point. And I looked at the screenshots and I was like, I remember this game looking a lot better than that.
Right. Well, I wonder how the open world probably feels so small by today's comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know. Gun was fun though. Thomas Jane, shout out to Tom Jane.
I love Gun. But
I did start playing Hogwarts Legacy some finally. I've owned it for months.
First time?
First time, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm a Gryffindor, which is frustrating because every time I do that little Wizarding World Pottermore quiz, I've done it like 4 times now. It's Gryffindor every time. I'm like, yeah, this just seems so basic.
I would not have guessed that.
What would you have guessed?
I mean, Slytherin.
Yeah,
I knew
was gonna say Slytherin.
Wow, everybody here and Aaron Peterson of the Hollywood Outsider always pegged me for Slytherin. He's purchased me Slytherin stuff before, but every time I take the quiz, it's Gryffindor.
What house do you want to be?
I mean, I guess
Ravenclaw.
I guess Gryffindor. I like them. I like
Gryffindor.
I like them because I feel like they're the ones that are gonna. If there was a troll at a bridge, you're gonna fight it yourself until your friends get safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of who I am.
On a bridge? Wasn't in the bathroom?
It was in the book / movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was.
Yeah. I was just using the example. I think that was one of the quiz questions. Like you meet a troll at a bridge. What do? Do you make a plan with your friends? Do you try to outsmart it? Do you just tell your friends to run so you can fight it? Or, I'm sure the Slytherin answer is like, do you trick everyone else into fighting for you?
Yeah, some of them are a little bit. I wonder which one it's going for.
Right. Well, then some of them aren't. It's like left or right.
Oh.
Now, how do you figure me out? Anyway, Hogwarts Legacy. I'm really enjoying it so far. it's interesting playing an open world game where, yes, it does have this big open world area, but most of it is this entirely dense and intricate castle, which is neat. And CB's talked about it before, but I like the combat. Shockingly, it has almost like if Arkham was a melee or a ranged game vibe to it.
Oh, interesting. Because you never heard anybody describe it that way yet.
Yeah,
that's how I'm doing, because you just have the simple taps to attack enemies, but then you have the little parry icon over your head to protego yourself, and that could kind of that interrupts people's attacks, or you can dodge if you want. But then you also build up these little finisher moves and stuff. To me, it is a very Arkham rhythm to it. But
you're kind of selling me on it. I still haven't even installed it. I've got it.
I haven't either.
Installed.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. More interesting than me playing it, though, is my partner started playing it, and she does not play video games outside of Pumpkin Jack. And
What's Pumpkin Jack?
It's a 3D platformer, but it's all Halloween themed. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I recommend
it. Is it new?
No, it's got to be late 2018, 2017, maybe.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of it.
It's a good one, but it's been intriguing but she's a big Harry Potter fan, and it's been intriguing watching a non-gamer play a video game. And also, now she kind of learns a little bit about what it's like to be the gamer. As I try to ask her a question and she gives me a quick short answer. And it's like, boy, that felt dismissive. Oh my God. Now she knows. Because she's so focused, Yeah, but she's even further than me. It's been a lot of fun to watch someone enjoy a video game for the first time, I guess.
That's really a good mark on this game, right? If someone that does not play video games much at all is really into it because of their love for Harry Potter.
Right.
Like, there's a girl from the local college that is observing my classroom right now. She's studying to be a teacher. She's one of the world's biggest Harry Potter fans. And I told her about this game, and she's like, "Oh, that's kind of cool," but you can tell she's just like, whatever. And I'm like, hearing that is like, you need to play this game, but she doesn't own a console.
I mean, I feel like every room that she walks into, she's like, "Oh my God, this is so cool," because there are all these little background details that I wasn't noticing because I probably got gamer brain, so I'm used to like, where are the collectibles? How do I solve this puzzle real quick? But she's like watching the library books check themselves back in via magic. Like the stamps are alive and people are apparating books in. And I'm like, I would have never noticed that because I would have been like, I have all the collectibles in this room, time to move on.
Yeah, that's how my brain works too.
Exactly, that's how we're all trained, right? But she's still learning the gaming language, and it's been a delight. And if a non-gamer is interested, the story mode is very generous. When the counter prompts pull, when you get the counter in combat or whatever, it basically freezes time and just waits for you to press triangle. So it's just very playable in that way. And if you ever get stuck, if you die, it'll be like, hey, just so you know, you can skip this if you want, or you can try again.
I heard the puzzles are pretty cool too.
Yeah, I would say it has some of that Zelda logic. But you're using spells, which kind of reminds me of that Chamber of Secrets game back in the day. If you remember that.
I played that one. Was it good?
It was pretty much just Zelda. It was a total ripoff.
Oh,
like
really?
Snape, like you were in potions class with Snape, but he'd be like, "I have a trial for you, Potter," and then you go behind this painting. It's just a whole dungeon, and you get your spell in the middle of it. Like you find a scroll, and then you use that spell for the rest of the dungeon to beat it, and then a boss.
Nice.
Yeah, it's straight up Zelda. Yeah, but Hogwarts Legacy, I think I've been surprised by how much love and attention is put into it. I wish it was more of a school simulator. Like I wish you were forced to go to classes. I do find that to be a bit of a bummer. But I guess in that way, it's less of a Hogwarts simulator and more of you're getting to play your own Hogwarts movie because the classes play such a small role comparatively in the movies, but it has this overarching narrative that isn't super interesting. But that's not.
So if I fire it up, we all assumed you were Slytherin. If I fire it up and I do this test, where am I going to land? Knowing me,
feels like a Hufflepuff, right?
Hufflepuff.
Alyssa, what do you think?
I'd say either Hufflepuff or Gryffindor.
Okay, I'll have to do that. I'll report back next week.
I know my house, but what do you guys think?
Ravenclaw. Scott?
Hufflepuff.
It was Ravenclaw, yeah.
Yeah, see, Alyssa, I know you so well.
You do.
Absolutely. I know you better than Scott does. Oh, I do want to. I will say the conversations and the way characters talk to you, total dead-eyed, total weird Uncanny Valley vibes. I'm not into it.
Like original Mass Effect kind of thing?
I would say like a kind of like, or like Oblivion style. Like they just stare, just dead stare at you and just read this dialogue. And weirdly, I would say the voice actors are kind of strangely hit or miss, which I don't feel like you get a lot in modern video games.
Mm-hmm.
But they really are. There's like this one Aurora lady who sounds like it's her. Looks like she's reading the lines for the first time.
Have you come across the Greens person or the
Professor Garlic? Yeah.
Yeah. Is it as big of a deal as everybody's saying it, or are they just wish fulfillment thing?
She lives up to the hype.
Yeah? Okay.
She's pretty great. Yeah. She's also just nice.
Oh, okay. Alyssa, what about you? Catching up on anything?
Well, I mean, I beat Resident Evil 4. That's about it.
Hey! And this is your first time playing it, right? You didn't play it originally, so what did you think of the...
I don't know, it blows my mind every time I hear you say that.
I loved it.
Yeah? Love the bonkers story that thing is?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah?
Loved all of Leon's lines. Loved the combat. Loved how the story came out. And, yeah. Everything about it pretty much I enjoyed.
I need to get back to it. I did not make much more progress, Zach.
I mean, I forgive. I'm just excited Alyssa beat it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Isn't it a shame Ashley doesn't ask Leon for any overtime at the end? What a bummer.
I mean, she does give him an offer of sorts. But...
Right. But in the original, she was basically like, hey, do you want to go bang now?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know
Did she
that.
really?
Yeah, she said, do you want to come back? Do you think after this we could go put in some overtime at my place?
Isn't she like 17?
I did not remember that.
She's 20.
She's in college,
okay.
yeah.
I thought she was younger for some reason.
She appeared as if she were much younger
in the original
game. Like she looked like she was like a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah, it was almost disturbingly so.
Yeah.
Well, apparently 20-year-old women look like teenagers to me now, so I'm getting old.
Yep. Welcome to it.
I think kids are just looking younger. I don't know. I don't buy into this me getting old thing. It's the kids who are wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you want to hear what happened with me with Resident Evil 4? And part of the reason I got frustrated?
Sure.
I mean, you remember I sat down and I basically in one sitting I got through the first 4 chapters. I mean, not literally one sitting, but that first weekend it came out. And then when I came back to it, I was it was right when you first rescue Ashley and you have to help start protecting her and she can get carried off and all that business. And so I'm doing that and I'm heading through the village and I got to one of those, I don't know I can't remember what they're called, but it's like a treasure box that you needed a specific key for. It's almost like a shrine and you get that one key earlier on. And it's like it's like its own little cabinet kind of thing. And I go to open it and my game glitched. And it was a glitch in the weirdest way. I could not walk away from this box. I had to, and every time I tried to raise my gun or whatever, he would raise his gun really rapidly. So it was like this. It looked exactly like what you're imagining. And, but it was a situation where I was frustrated because I just got through that section and I'm not good at the whole protecting Ashley thing and I didn't want to do it again. I finally got it and I was like, I'm done for the night. I want to play something else and went and played some pinball or something. And I just haven't picked it up since. I'm going to.
You got to.
It's just I don't know. And I forgot what was in my inventory, so I feel like I got to relearn. You know what I mean?
It'll surely be in the Game of the Year conversation, so I think you got to get in there.
Oh, yeah.
I will. But I also played some more Pinball FX. I don't know if you remember, but we got a new listener that came over from that listened to the DLC episode that I was a guest on.
Welcome.
He goes by the name of Doc Sampson, and he came over because he's a Pinball FX guy as well, and he's been hounding me on Discord to challenge him on his scores. So I've been going back and forth with him on a couple scores, and as soon as I pass one, he promptly passes it and then some. So I definitely have some healthy competition over there.
This is exciting for you, right? Have
it is. It is. It's fun to have the competition. He's much better than I am, so and I'm not playing it nearly as much as I did back in the Pinball FX 2 and 3 days. But it's because I don't have anybody else on my leaderboard other than the global leaderboard. I don't have because my buddy that I used to compete with has not matriculated over to the new client because he's more or less boycotting it because he thinks it's stupid that you got to pay for it again.
I don't blame him.
And so it's nice to have somebody over there that I know. I just wish that the pinball UI did a system for people like me that are only concerned about, leaderboards with your friends. Because in order to see a leaderboard on a table, you have to click on the table, and then you have to tab over two places. And then if you're good on that table, you have to back up and go to a different table and do it all over again. I want there just to be like a checklist of, hey, so-and-so is beating your score on these tables. And then I can just go on that table and try to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like, was it Burnout Paradise did that, right, back in the day?
Well, I mean, the old client would have it during an actual pinball table, right? Like you could, it would be like, hey, you're this far away from beating so-and-so's score. It still does that, but it's so quick. And if you're so focused on the table itself, you're going to miss it, right?
Right.
But if what you're talking about in Burnout Paradise does it where like before you select the track, it'll say,
yeah, this is your friend's time or whatever.
Well, but I don't even want that because it does that, but I just have to click several times to do it. And if you've got 100 tables, I don't want to click through 100 tables. I want there to be like an icon that says you are the number one person on your friends list in here. That's what Pinball FX2 used to do. It'd give you a little medal that would say out of your friends list, you have the top score out of your friends list. And if I saw one that didn't have the medal, I would go in there and be like, I gotta go do some work on this table. You know what I mean?
So I might have said that's too specific a feature, but I guess they used to do it. So I mean, yeah, why don't they still do it? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. That's like my number one thing I wish they'd do over there. But also, I checked out the DLC for Vampire Survivors called Tides of Foscari.
Right.
Which cost me a whole $1.99.
I was gonna say, is it still $2 less?
Yeah. On Game Pass, it's $1.79. So you can save that 20 cents. But yeah, I got through this. I've unlocked all 3 characters already and tried the new weapons. The first one that you unlock is a female character that shoots like these electricity bolts. And then her evolution of that is it kind of like envelops the whole screen, kind of like the pentagram does. But the interesting thing with her evolution, and Alyssa, I can't remember if you played it or not. Do you remember do you know how the evolutions work?
Some of them, yeah.
Okay. So the evolution for this character works a little bit differently in that you actually need 3 things to combine instead of just 2. And one of them is, your starting weapon that she has. And then the other 2 just randomly appear on the map at some point. They don't even come as a drop from like an enemy or whatever. So you have to be in the right place at the right time in order to get that and then level those up as well, which is interesting. The second character is a guy with a massive sword that kind of does what the guy with the whip does, where it just shoots to either side. But it's a little bit bigger, and then obviously he does it more repetitively as he grows. But his evolution of that is pretty cool. It kind of does like 8 or 9 silhouettes of him that just kind of shoot off in one direction, almost like this beam of energy or whatever that goes off, and then it just hits everything in its path. It's pretty helpful. Apparently, there's a story with this, and I have no idea what it is. But I'm enjoying it. It's very much more Vampire Survivors.
These 2 questions.
Yeah.
One, does the big sword guy have spiky yellow hair?
Not that I remember. No, he seems
It's
like a
terrible.
dark, brooding character.
Okay,
Missed
how
opportunity.
Right. How could we not have Cloud Strife in this game? Ridiculous.
I've not tried the third character yet either, so I don't even know what that does.
And 2, isn't it weird that the story stuff is written by Stephanie Sterling? It just feels like you don't need to hire an actual writer for Vampire Survivors lore.
I wonder if anybody actually does care about the story, because I
Right.
don't even know what the story for the original game. I just got to a boss and fought it. That's all I know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's brief level descriptions, I guess. That's really the extent of the lore, isn't it?
To my
I would
knowledge,
think
yeah.
so. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know why you need to hire like an actual games writer
Right.
for that. It's a weird, just weird thing.
There's a new map as well too, which is a little bit more twisty and turny. You know how like most of the other maps are just very much wide open and you just kind of go from point A to point B. This one actually has a little bit more obstacles in the way. Like you can't just go there by walking. You may have to if you're going for a specific spot on the map, you go and then there'll be like a body of water that gets in your way, so you have to kind of find a way around, or there may be these like tiny little mazes that you kind of have to get through, which makes it just a little bit more interesting. It's still very much Vampire Survivors, and every achievement is a rare achievement, which is fun for someone like me. I'm gonna try to get them all. I don't know if they didn't do an update, but it says like I've collected 179 out of 159 achievements. Like, I don't know if they've just not updated that.
Whoa,
So it says
you're that good.
I guess.
Yeah.
I may have the numbers off too, but anyway. So yeah, Tides of Fiscari. It's just fun being back there and feeling like I'm earning something instead of playing it just because.
It's about to be Game of the Year 2 years in a row.
No. But, all right, well, that's enough. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. Some new trailers to talk about. First off, Trine 5, A Clockwork Conspiracy was announced this week for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC, coming out this summer. We got the final gameplay trailer for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That comes out on Switch on the 12th. Also, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has an official delay date. I'm saying that specifically instead of a release date because, Sega may be buying Rovio for $1 billion as early as this week. Super Mario Brothers movie is doing just fine. And Blizzard listened to beta feedback and is making changes to Diablo 4. I do not remember who started last week, so I'm going to start with the prettiest one. Alyssa, go ahead.
I thought you were about to say Zack.
I thought about it.
I
thought about it, but I was worried you might think I was being actually serious, so I decided to not go for the joke.
I mean, I wouldn't blame you. But anyway, let's talk about Sega possibly buying Rovio for $1 billion.
Oh,
okay.
It was reported by the Wall Street Journal, and Rovio owns the Angry Birds franchise. Angry Birds was the first mobile game to reach 1 billion downloads, but its popularity has dwindled since 2014. In 2016, the movie adaptation, made it the 7th highest grossing movie based on a video game property. The sequel bombed, however. But this is not the first time they've been considered for purchase. Israeli company Playtika almost bought them for $800 million.
This just seems really expensive.
$1 billion for a,
doesn't it?
For a game that's going downhill in popularity?
I mean, unless they're planning on making a resurgence, but I feel like that ship has kind of sailed. I'm speaking from a guy that does not play a ton of mobile games anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand the world where Angry Birds is worth $1 billion. I mean, I'm sure Rovio made other stuff as well, but
that's what they're known for.
I couldn't tell you what else any of that stuff was.
I read that they actually changed. They pulled the game from Android, I believe, and they changed the name of the original game on iOS to something like Red's something or whatever, because they made new versions of the game and they wanted everyone to go there instead. So they literally changed the name of their own game so that people would, when they looked up Angry Birds, would go to the new version that has presumably more shady microtransactions. I'm assuming
one would assume. I think that's a safe assumption.
That when I read that, I was like, that just seems really dirty.
All right, that's some real Plants vs. Zombies 2 level of dirty.
Oh, don't get me started on Plants vs. Zombies 2. I love Plants vs. Zombies so much, and the sequel I was like, nope.
Yeah, that was so gross.
I mean, if you think about it, they would own it all together, so it wouldn't just be the games. It would be any other films, or if they decided to do a TV show or something.
Right,
you know
or
what I mean?
If they did this right, you would inevitably do Angry Birds Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
And you could shoot everybody in their spinball mode.
I would imagine we'd start seeing them in there somewhere, or maybe one of these Angry Birds is flying around with him instead of Tails. I don't know.
Whoa. Don't do my boy like that. Poor Tails.
Yeah, Sega did make a statement this week as well, saying, whoa, slow your roll, everybody. You know, we are considering this. There is nothing done. We are pursuing and looking at things. I don't have the quote in front of me, obviously, but Yeah, this is not done. This is just something that could happen. But I think this is interesting because weren't we just like a little while ago saying, man, what's up with Sega? Like, are they going to get bought out by somebody, or we're talking about potential rumors about them getting purchased?
Right. They've got all those interesting partnerships with Microsoft lately.
Right. So clearly, they're doing all right.
I mean, if they're willing to potentially spend $1 billion on this company.
Yeah. I don't know. Zach, what about you? What would you like to talk about?
Oh man, there's a few things here. Suicide Squad is intriguing. I do want to briefly talk to you, Scott, about the Zelda trailer.
Okay. I'm glad you did.
As a fellow Zelda, I guess everybody's a Zelda fan, right? It's pretty universal amongst gamers.
You'd be surprised.
I'm not the biggest fan. I hate saying that. I hate saying it.
You're lucky you warm my heart so much otherwise, because between this and not playing Resident Evil 4.
I feel so bad now.
I think Scott had an aneurysm.
I thought I had mentioned this before.
No, I don't know if you would have made it this far if you had.
I am flabbergasted. I am beside myself right now.
I can't tell how serious he is, but it's kind of scary.
I genuinely don't. Have you
Which Zeldas have you played?
There we go. Thank you, Zach.
I've played Link Between Worlds, Majora's Mask, Skyward Sword.
That's your problem.
And
whoa,
I tried Breath of the Wild. I couldn't do it.
I would say those are 4 weird Zeldas. However, she played the best and didn't like it. So what are you gonna do?
I feel like none of those are good entry points.
Right, Ocarina or Twilight, I think would be the best entry points.
I mean,
right. Or Link to the Past.
Link to the Past, yeah, would probably be good. You've got Nintendo Switch Online, right, Alyssa?
Yes, I do.
I want you to promise me something.
Okay, I'll do it for you.
I want you to, at some point this year, at least try either Ocarina of Time or Link to the Past before you completely dismiss the Legend of Zelda series.
Okay.
Because if you don't like either of those, then you're not going to be a Zelda fan. And I'm okay with it. I'm not going to disown you or anything, kick you off the podcast. I mean, for sure, what was the other one she mentioned? Skyward Sword?
Yeah.
No.
I don't like that game at all.
No. Majora's Mask, I know I like to give Zack a hard time about that one. It's a very weird Zelda game. Even though it's got the Ocarina engine, that is a tough game to start out with.
I mean, it's a weird game in general.
Yeah. And then I can't remember the other two that you said.
Link Between Worlds. And then I put 2 or 3 hours into Breath of the Wild, but I became too overwhelmed and I just couldn't do it.
Well, I like Breath of the Wild, but Breath of the Wild feels like they made an open world game and slapped Zelda on it.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say, Zach?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I
thought it was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's not really a Zelda game per se.
I mean, they're making it a Zelda game now because
no, you're right. They get to decide what Zelda is,
right?
But
right.
it doesn't feel like Zelda at first brush.
So yeah, try those two at some point, Alyssa. They're both on Nintendo Switch Online, so you don't have to pay any extra money for it if you already have the service. But yeah, Zach, I actually almost texted you. Maybe I didn't intentionally when this trailer dropped to be like, "How you feeling now?" Because I have thoughts, but I want to know what yours are about this final trailer.
See, now I'm scared. I don't know what your thoughts are, but my thoughts was, oh, hey, this does look pretty great. I think finally there's some shape of the story. I cannot, hey, Ganondorf, what a guy. Always happy to see my boy.
And it's the first time he's been voiced, right? Is it Mercer?
Yeah, Matt Mercer.
Yep.
What an honor, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was a Patricia Somerset, dude. She had the highest honor last time. Voicing Zelda for the first time. Anyway, but then I think all the story stuff looks great, and of course I'm going to play it. But I was still left with the trailer of like, I still don't really know what the game is, though.
I don't know what the game is, but I feel like I have more hope for it than I did with Breath of the Wild. Because Breath of the Wild, we were like, we were going to play it just because it was Zelda.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the first 2 trailers that we saw for this felt like, I think we mentioned it in weeks past, that it just felt like DLC for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit better because I saw some puzzles in there that didn't look like shrines. They looked like dungeons to me.
I agree with that. Yes, but I still, I'm cautious because they haven't explicitly said anything about dungeons.
Right. And there's got to be a reason for that, which could not be. I mean, technically, Breath of the Wild had dungeons, right? But there was just 4 of them.
Yeah, they were also 10 minutes?
Right. They were very, very short.
And like none of the rooms spoke to each other, or they were basically just shrines connected.
Yeah, they're just larger, slightly larger shrines.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm back on board, man. I saw this and I was very stoked. Speaking of, if you guys happen to see a collector's edition of Tears of the Kingdom for sale anywhere, please grab me one. My pre-order was canceled.
Oh no!
So
really?
Yeah.
All right, man.
I didn't realize when I pre-ordered 2 copies, but I didn't realize that I had pre-ordered them from the same place, and Best Buy canceled one of them because, for obvious reasons, they only have so much stock. And
You're still getting one.
No, it's not for me. I pre-ordered one for Nate actually, and I'm not going to.
Tough for Nate, huh?
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna because he stopped looking because I got him one. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, oh, sucks to be you. No, I'm just going to try to find another one, and I don't want to pay scalper prices, but it just sucks. I was actually like good and got both of them, and just for whatever reason didn't realize I got them in the same place. So
yeah, I mean, but anyway, the game does look good. Yes,
we're all going to play it. I mean,
no,
maybe
of
not
course.
Alyssa, but
yeah, I'm not really playing on it at the moment.
Shame.
I will give it a shot to Ocarina of Time and A Link to the Past, though. I promise.
Okay, cool. Which one would you think would be an easier barrier for her, Zach? Like, which would have a better success rate of her potentially liking the Zelda franchise?
Well, I trust Alyssa's mindset. I think she could go into an N64 game knowing that it's an N64 game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's tough to remove my own history from it because, to me, it's the most important game ever made in the history of games to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm viewing it academically, just because of all the things that introduced the 3D video games, but A Link to the Past it's pretty seamless to get into.
Right. I feel like it's a little tougher to get into Ocarina, but the story is so good at the beginning of Ocarina, and
and just the dungeon structure I like a lot as well.
Yeah.
So I would almost say Ocarina.
Okay.
I might be with you, but if you don't like it, try Link to the Past.
Okay, I promise.
That one will be a little bit easier to get into. Anyway,
what an amazing stopping point in our podcast. We were just completely derailed.
I know, and I'm just like, oh no, they both despise me now.
I
probably the listeners too.
I don't remember you ever out loud saying that you didn't like the Legend of Zelda
I
series.
could have sworn I said it one time on the podcast, but
maybe I
didn't.
I probably just tuned it out.
Yeah. I pretend I do not see.
It was a traumatic event and my body just rejected it.
I'm still going to therapy about it today.
Oh no.
Just can't get over it.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about this Blizzard deal as well, just mostly because I'm very, very excited for Diablo 4. They've actually been listening to the feedback from the beta that they did last month, and made what sounds like some pretty significant changes. The dungeon layouts are going to reduce backtracking. People were complaining about having to go back and forth too much, which I didn't notice that when I did it, but I only got to like level 12, so I didn't get terribly far. I thought it maxed at 20 though, so maybe I'm wrong. Dungeon events are going to happen more frequently. They were only happening about 10% of the time, and they're now going to happen 60% of the time. Wait times are going to be reduced. Movement speed in certain areas are increased, and a mini-map ping system is being updated that will show friends doors that you recently unlocked. Obviously, I plan to play this with friends, so that's going to be a welcome thing. Classes are being tweaked a bit as well. There's a whole list of things they did to those, but I'm not going to go through all of them. And there's some other quality of life improvements for the game's release on June 6th. If you can't tell, guys, I cannot wait for this game. This might be my most anticipated of the year. I know it sounds weird for a game that is more or less going to be more of what I played in 3, just prettier. But the sheer number of people that I've talked to that are like, I'm playing that on day one, can't wait. I'm doing it, gonna go.
Hey, as a guy who loves 2 and didn't particularly like 3, I loved what I played at 4. I think this game appeals to many people.
So we're gonna have to find a day that works for our schedule and your weird work schedule that we can, weekly play some Diablo together.
That would be super.
I mean,
cool,
I'd like to hop in too.
Yeah,
Because I've never played a Diablo game with anyone before. I've always played by myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I hate playing by myself. I really, it's just, it feels like such a grind. At least it did in 3. So I'm stoked. But I just love that the beta, they're actually doing stuff with the beta data. You know what I mean? And they're listening to people and they're making something that people actually want. And
that it's an actual beta, unlike most betas.
Like it's not just it's not a demo disguised as a beta.
Right. It's not a demo that they just used a marketing term beta on.
Right.
Yeah, that is nice. What a refreshing change of pace.
I agree.
What about Suicide Squad? Okay, briefly, if I may.
Okay, sure.
Getting delayed out of May and into February 2nd, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Was that 9 months roughly?
From now, you mean, or from its original?
From May.
Yeah.
Is that enough time to... Obviously, you can't do anything meaningful. The game is the game, right? It's basically just be 9 months of polish. But that's got to be enough time to make sure the game works without a connection to the internet all the time, right?
I would hope so, because that's the number one complaint from people is that you had to have it. Which
that was a straw that broke the camel back for me, where I was still going to buy it out of obligation just because it has a DC branding.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But once it said always required in, I was like, no, I'm out. That's enough. That's just an unnecessary thing.
Well, it doesn't bother me personally because I always have an internet connection, so I'm not too worried about that, except for when the internet goes out. But I just was not really happy with the direction that the game is going, where it's feeling more like it's games as a service thing, like with Destiny.
Oh yeah, it looks bad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at how many games have been shuttered this year alone.
Right.
Like just straight up, you can't play them anymore. One of the podcasts that I listened to, their kids play Rumbleverse like crazy. They were still playing Rumbleverse, and Dad had to explain to the kids that this game is not going to be here anymore. Is that what we're heading towards? Is where you just won't be able to play games anymore, even if you... I mean, I understand that was a free-to-play one, right? But it's just gone. You're telling me there's no way to make a version of that? I don't know.
Yeah, you think there has to be some way to make it offline. But imagine that scenario, except you paid $70 for it.
Right. And no local co-op. How is that possible?
No, that doesn't surprise me.
Halo
doesn't have local co-op anymore.
They don't. It doesn't have it at all.
No,
they decided to scrap it.
Yeah,
I thought they did online co-op, though. Right? You can still play online.
But sorry. So what's your complaint with Suicide Squad then?
No. You're right. No, but the fact that it's not there, like it. You said in Halo they had it, but they took it away. Or they were going to work on it and they just never added it. Is that what?
Right. Yeah. They canceled plans for local play.
Okay. I thought you were saying they had it and they took it away.
Oh well, in this day and age, that would not be surprising.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, they did kind of, right? Because they promised you would have it and then said no, actually, you won't.
Yep, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, just a little bit like that. But no, of course it sucks. But local co-op's been dying a slow death.
Which I don't get. People still play on the couch together. Families play on the couch together. I sincerely think I have more fun playing games like that when I'm in a room with somebody.
Almost everything is more fun in person.
Right. Like I had, do you remember months and months ago, CB and I had Brian Regals from our community over, and we all played like Evil Dead together, but we each had our own TV. Like we're all connected. Even though we were online, we were all sitting in the room together on our own TVs playing it. That was fun, man. I know it's like it's like a LAN party, kind of.
Yeah. A LAN party with extra steps.
Yeah. I just, that was a lot of fun. And I don't know.
So I think we all agree this is the right move, though, right? Delay this game.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, to me, I'm like yes, but also I think no matter when you put this game out, it's just you're just putting it out to die at this point.
It kind of feels like that way.
Yeah.
I think somebody in our Discord made the joke and said, Am I gonna play Skull and Bones before this game?
I mean, it'll have been in development for 9 years.
That's just nuts.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, because their last one was
Arkham Knight,
Arkham Knight. Yeah, 2014.
2015.
It was 2015.
Yeah.
Man, that's how long, dude. That was one of the first games we reviewed as the Gaming
wow.
Outsider.
Really?
That's how long we've been doing this, which is kind of nuts to think about. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on. I want to remind everybody about Patreon. If you'd like to help support the show, we would really love your support. You can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. And certain tiers will give you bonus episodes, including our Peace of Mind episode. If you guys are okay with R-rated content and you want to hear me, Zack, and Alyssa go to all places of conversation, you will not want to miss the Peace of Mind episodes. They are a lot of fun. We've also got a new Desert Islands episode coming for the month of April. We sat down with Sean Coates to talk about his top 5 games he would play if you were stranded on a desert island. Those are always a lot of fun, and we have more coming in the future as well. Again, patreon.com/thegocast. If you'd like to help us out, we would appreciate it. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the new games we've been playing. All right, Zack, lay it on us. What can we play new this coming up week?
Why do you sound sad about it?
This coming
Because
up week?
This coming up week. This week coming up?
The come up week play.
Because I have so many games I want to play, and I don't have time to play the one I got now. I'm reviewing a game right now. For some reason, I decided it was a good idea to buy the Ezio collection on Xbox One.
Okay.
Because it was on sale.
It
and
must have been a good sale.
It was like $12 for all 3 games, and
Yeah.
I did not realize that it's a whole new set of achievements, so I could actually play them again
Oh.
and still not feel like I'm earning something. So I'm gonna go back into Assassin's Creed 2 at some point. But
Requiescat in pace.
oh, dude,
You're
that
I do love me
That-
some Ezio.
pushes me back over the edge even more, man. I just want to go back in there.
Right,
It's
see,
me,
right.
Mario.
Roger Craig Smith over there. Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, Assassin's Creed 2 is pretty good, huh?
It was good.
Dude, they use anyway, we're going off the topic. Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp finally comes to Switch. Been delayed to high heaven because of the war in Ukraine, but I guess everybody just doesn't care anymore. Coming April 21st on the Nintendo Switch. Speaking of games that take forever to come out, Dead Island 2 comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC April 21st.
Does anybody really care about that anymore? I genuinely don't know.
No. I don't know who in the world. I mean, I guess it looks kind of fun, but who is like excited for Dead Island 2?
I don't know. I have one friend that was just super into the original, and she was clamoring for this years ago. So I haven't talked to her in a while to ask her how she feels about it, but I just feel like this thing is going to go out like a wet fart. But
I mean,
hopefully I'm wrong.
like 3 developers later.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the trailer I linked to you? 8 years ago was the first trailer.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
We all know how trustworthy those Dead Island trailers are.
Right. If you're guaranteed to get an experience very 180 of whatever that is. So dumb. FMV game Mia and the Dragon Princess comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Switch, PC, iOS, and Android April 21st. After Image comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC April 25th. Strayed Lights makes its way to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC April 25th.
Boy, they are pushing that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They are marketing that game like crazy via email. They really want that game to be out there.
I really want people to be playing that one. Kind of a tight release window, guys. Deaths of the Memories Between is a new game from the Monument Valley people coming to Switch and PC April 26th. From the creators of massive hit, what's that Weeb game called? What is it?
Genshin Impact.
Genshin Impact. That's right. Thank you.
From the resident weeb.
Yeah, I knew it could rely on you. Comes Honkai Star Rail on PC, iOS, and Android April 26th. The big difference is that one is sci-fi, and I think the combat is turn-based. So they're branching out a little bit.
Very pretty in the trailer.
It does. It looks neat for sure. And I think it's coming to PlayStation later. It will suspiciously not be coming to Xbox. but you know how PlayStation hates exclusives. Aliens Fireteam Elite finally gets ported over to Switch April 26th. That game was a fun little banger. Bramble the Mountain King, I think, is a cool looking game about Nordic folk tales. Coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC April 27th. Lego Brick Tales comes off of consoles and onto mobile with an iOS and Android release April 27th. Live Alive, the Square Enix Switch game, a remake of the Super Nintendo classic, comes to PS5, PS4, and PC April 27th. Again, not coming to Xbox,
Yep. Nope.
which is looking more and more suspicious from Square Enix, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
Once you put the tinfoil hat on, it's hard to take it off, but my word, the only release they've done in the past year is Crisis Core.
Yep.
That's true.
That's a little weird, guys. Velocity Noodle, a fast-paced platformer about delivering ramen, comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, and Switch April 27th. Omega Strikers makes its way to Switch on April 27th. And The Last Case of Benedict Fox comes to Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC April 27th. Scott, what's exciting for you this week?
So the Ezio collection is really
It's a hot banger coming straight out of 2009.
I mean, there's probably not anything off of here I'm gonna play, but if I had, I mean, I do want to play Live Alive, but
yeah.
I feel like if it's not gonna be on Xbox, I might as well just play it on Switch because I can carry it around with me. So why not?
Right.
But I think Velocity Noodle actually looks like a lot of fun. It's got that Meat Boy flavor
Definitely.
to it, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
in like a long run form instead. Definitely a a speedrunner's paradise kind of thing, and the colors and stuff look a little bit more exciting than Meat Boy. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Meat Boy, but that's also kind of one note. It's just blades and blood, and
Hell yeah.
you know what I mean. So yeah, I'll say Velocity Noodle.
Absolutely. What about you, Alyssa? Anything? Is it Me and the Dragon Princess?
I've got, well, I'll say 3, but 2 more predominantly. Yes, Mia and the Dragon Princess is 1. I didn't realize this was an FMV title until I watched the trailer, because it doesn't sound like one.
No, it
But
does not.
it looks great.
And it looks pretty action heavy for an FMV game.
Oh yeah, which definitely intrigues me.
Definitely.
Bramble the Mountain King looks interesting. I really like Nordic mythology. And I do want to play, like Scott, Live Alive at some point, because it looks fantastic. And I know you played it, Zack, and enjoyed it. So
Indeed.
So those are mine.
Yeah, I think Bramble the Mountain King for me. There's something about it. It looks appealing. It's very, very kind of dark fairy tale aesthetic to it. It looks pretty interesting. It's just none of these games are ultimately going to get played because I want to keep my window open for Jedi Survivor. But
You got 2 weeks, man.
April 27th is the day before.
You got a week and a half. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. Anyway, and I do think Advance Wars 1 and 2 sounds fun, but
I tried to get into those back in was it the DS or
and GBA.
I
Yeah.
tried, dude. I just that kind of strategy for it just does not work for me. I cannot get it to click. Everyone raved about those games back in the day. I'm like, I gotta try it. I was like, really?
Actually, I always felt like it was the easier alternative to Fire Emblem.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. I kept waiting for it to get really difficult. Maybe maybe I need to try it again.
I think it's no rush. There's plenty to play. You're right.
There's plenty to play.
Yeah.
But Scott, you've been playing Beyond the Long Night. I would say on PC, but you don't do that. You're way too elite for that. You played it on your Steam Deck,
Too elite to play on PC.
right? Us, all the peasants out there playing stuff on their PC.
Steam Deck Master Race.
Absolutely, we're getting to that point, man. A Steam Deck owner is like a vegan. You know how you'll know if you're talking to one?
They'll tell
you.
They'll tell you.
I've got a Steam Deck.
I'm not that guy.
Yeah, you're definitely not that guy.
I'm not that guy.
Anyway.
Beyond the Long Night, I wanted to check out because it's my kind of game. It looks like a Scott Clark game, doesn't it?
It does.
It does. It looks a little like I was gonna say a little Gear Gatey, but maybe not. But it has a kind of, I don't know, that kind of vibe to it. Except for it's a shooter, right?
It's a 2D map, where you go, but it's always procedurally generated. It's very much a rogue light. I had this conversation with Rel when we recorded his segment that you're going to hear later on about the difference between a roguelite and a roguelike. This definitely falls in the roguelike category, where I'm not seeing any permanent upgrades. Each run feels like it is a fresh run, where I just have new abilities available to me that I might come across to make things easier, but I'm not getting rogue legacy upgrades at the end of each run that make me feel like I'm progressing. You know what I mean?
Game journals really gave up on genre identifiers, huh?
Apparently they need to start listening to you. Apparently,
just come up with something that actually describes it.
Yeah.
Roguelike versus roguelite. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
So this one is 2D, and the Metroid vibe, like you said, is kind of there because you're moving. Your map kind of looks like that. You're seeing, like most roguelikes or roguelikes, whatever you want to call it. It's got different branching paths that there's nothing there until you go in there, and then that opens up more branching paths. So, but this one is interesting in that you're not tied to gravity because your character floats around by these balloons that are like strapped to your character, which also act as your health points or your hearts. So these little balloons that are shaped like hearts, and if you get hit, one of them pops, and then once you have no hearts left, then you're dead. And you start the run over. You meet a dude at the beginning of each run that will give you one special ability, which is so you have at least one to go with. The interesting thing with this is that this is a kind of a twin stick shooter. Since you are floating around, there's no jumping. So you're moving around with the left stick and you're aiming with the right stick and then firing with the right trigger. Which, I don't know, when I hear twin stick shooter, to me, twin stick shooter is I point with the right stick and it shoots. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to press that sounds like a total first world problem thing.
Well, I was going to say, I most of the time, yes, but I guess I am also pretty used to having to pull a trigger in twin stick shooters.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. But the game also adds a little bit more to it, where in each room there might be like items that you can pick up as secondary weapons. So, but they're tied to a different button, but you also have to have them equipped. So you have to scroll through your equip, press a button to equip one, and you kind of scroll through the ones that you got available, and then now it's equipped. And now you press the trigger to fire that after you've aimed it. Like, why couldn't they just have done that to a different button or a bumper or something? I don't know. Maybe. And I haven't messed with the Steam Deck enough to know how hard it is to map controls to make things easier, but there you have it. So, starting out, I'm really enjoying this game because it feels very methodical. Like, every room that you come into, it feels like you have to clear it. Kind of like a Celeste room where you look at it like, what do I do? I see what I got to do, and all you're doing is clearing enemies. But there's not an easy room. I mean, once you know the enemy patterns and everything, it's not difficult. But one wrong move, and you're losing one or more health, and it's very easy to lose health. So you really have to constantly be on your toes. Not like in a Metroid or in a Castlevania where I can take a couple hits and then I can, I'll just get some health later. Health is very, very scarce here. The thing that I'm struggling to understand with Beyond the Long Night is apparently there's 5 different sections because you're basically trying to reach the surface. You wake up in the bottom layer and you're trying to go through each layer to get to the surface. But, and maybe I'm not understanding this game well enough, but at some point, while you're exploring, some of the paths that you were previously in become inaccessible to you because they get filled with like this red lava-y type stuff. And it feels like it's the game pushing you along to keep going up instead of like trying to backtrack and look for things. Which on one hand, that
sounds a little close to a timer.
Kind of, but it doesn't work like a timer in that there being a ticking clock. It works more like where each room, like it counts the number of rooms that you visited, and once you've reached a number of rooms, then it blocks them off. So in essence, it's pushing you forward, which I like, but a person like me that likes to explore every nook and cranny and, well, what did I miss? Now that I've got the money to use this thing, can I go back there? One run, I literally got blocked and I couldn't go anywhere. And I don't know if it was maybe I just didn't understand how to progress in the other direction, or if I just totally made a mistake and screwed everything up and got a bad roll on my procedurally generated dungeon. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing wrong there. So I'm not really. It sounds like I'm speaking negatively on the game, but I feel like it's more me not understanding what the game wants me to do quite yet, because I'm not. I never feel super powered, and I never really remember to use the special ability that you get, which, yes, it could be super helpful, but you have like 2 uses of it, and the only way to build up that meter to use it again is to do your regular attacks. So I go back to my regular attacks, and then I just forget that I have it again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never feeling compelled to use these things, although it probably would be very helpful to me. I'm just more concerned with looking at the map and seeing what direction I'm supposed to go. So I haven't landed on it yet, on how I feel about it, if I like it or if I don't like it, because I really like the gameplay. I just feel like I don't understand what the game is yet. I feel like there's a key piece that I either haven't been introduced or I'm not understanding myself. So I will report back next week to let you know how I feel about Beyond the Long Night.
Well, all right.
Sound good? All right, I've got a couple other reviews to share with you guys. I sat down with David Newman, who wanted to talk about a game called Gripper, and also Rel stopped by to talk about a game called Ravenbound. We're going to play those for you right now. Well, hello there, Dr. Newman. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. How are you doing? It is your birthday as we record this.
It today is, yes.
Oh,
we recorded the regular episode. Everything else you're hearing was yesterday. David had a mic issue yesterday, so we had to wait to record this until today. But I'm glad you're able to make it, man. And your voice sounds great. The new mic is awesome. So
joke's on you. I did that on purpose just so I could talk to you on your birthday and feel special.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Well, you're not here to wish me a happy birthday for real. You're here to talk to us about a game that you've been checking out for us called Gripper. It comes from Hardcore Ltd. And was provided to us by Uber Strategist. So thank you to that team for hooking us up. I am very curious about this because the trailer looks awesome. You're on a motorcycle, you're fighting bosses. It's very like anime stylized a little bit. Looks like a ton of fun. What's the story here? What's the gameplay like? I can't wait to hear about it.
I hate to disappoint, but
oh no,
it's a little rough. So,
okay.
Like you said, it's a very interesting concept. You're on a motorcycle, you got bosses. It's basically a boss rush game. The story is pretty meh, I will say. You are a person that went back to your world to find your parents, and turns out that they are not there or they're missing, and it has to do with an AI technology that they created.
ChatGPT?
Yeah. Feels like that. Your name is None, and I think the bad boss is called Zero. Kind of some interesting things. Also, the voice acting is not very good. If I'm memory serving correctly, the first bit is voice acted, and then it kind of stops being voice acted, which is actually usually a bad thing for me, but I would prefer it just because the voice acting is not very good.
Okay. When you say like you come back to your world to discover this, is this like sci-fi? Is it take place like on a planet kind of thing?
Yeah, it's very sci-fi. It's almost like a different universe almost.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not done with the game yet, even though it seems like it's a short game. From my understanding, it's a boss rush game that only has 5 bosses. Mm-hmm. With the idea that replayability is you can do different quests for the different bosses that give you like more credits to upgrade your stuff.
Gotcha.
But so far, I haven't really had the desire to try to go back and try to upgrade.
Okay.
I'm only on boss 3 out of the 5.
So how does the combat work? Because it looks like an arena, running around on a motorcycle taking on these bosses, but I'm not really understanding how you go about doing that.
Yeah, so you move with one and you can aim with another, and you have a hook on your bike that can throw things at it. So like the first boss is you could throw barrels at it to essentially both put damage on it, but also stun it. And then it's like a spider, so you can take off its legs.
Oh, okay. I'm in.
Yeah, it starts off really interesting, but I feel like the mechanics are not very well done. The aiming is really precise in a game that doesn't seem like it should be too precise, and then also it just like it's got some. Maybe I'm just bad at the game, but like there's some things that like just doesn't make sense. Like you can, if you're too close to the boss and throw something at it, the explosion will both hurt you and the boss. And then there's just some other things that they add into it that seem a little unfair to it. The other thing that the game has outside of the boss rush is a tunnel thing, which is basically a trial and error. It has different obstacles that come up as you're like moving through with some quick time events, and it's just you have to recognize the pattern. It's not really intuitive. It's just, it takes me 15 to 20 tries usually just to finish them, just because it's just things that pop up for no reason and feel like you
Pure
can't
memorization.
get through. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So in the arenas, when you're fighting these bosses, I want to make sure I'm understanding this. Are you holding down a trigger for throttle on your motorcycle, or is it just like moving with the left stick in whatever direction? Do you have 360 movement? Or
you do have 360 movement. Yep, you can with the left stick you move, and then the right stick is using it for the aim, and then I believe the hook is like I'm playing on the Switch. It's like RT or something, or ZR, whatever the heck the buttons are on the Switch. I don't.
Why could they stick with like R1, R2, or some kind of pattern like PlayStation and Xbox did? But I get it. It's got to be different. So it does really work like a twin stick shooter. Like is there an accelerator button? Do you have to control your gas, or is it just always whatever your direction you point, you move?
It's whatever direction you move. There is after each boss it gives you an ability, a different ability. So like after the first one, that gives you a jump mechanic, and then after the second one, you have like a boost or a nitrous essentially.
Yeah.
There's a handbrake that you get at the beginning. It's almost pointless. The handbrake sucks. Like it just like doesn't do anything for like dodging anything. So it's a pointless use of one of the buttons.
Well, it's a bummer, man. I was looking forward to hear about this, and it sounds like it was not your cup of tea, though.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be people that like it. Again, I can also be bad at the game. I am not a pro gamer. But I just feel like there's some things that just don't. It was such an interesting concept that I feel just wasn't well executed.
I understand. Well, thanks for checking it out, man. Again, that is Gripper. You're playing it on Switch. I believe it's also on PC, if I remember correctly.
That's correct, but interestingly, they actually suggest using a controller. So
over a mouse and keyboard. Huh?
Yeah, that was good.
Weird.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for stopping by, and we'll keep in touch next time you check out a game for us. Appreciate you taking a look.
All right. Thanks, man.
Not a problem. Have a good one.
Bye.
Well, hello there again, Rel. How's it going, man?
I cannot complain because I'm contractually obligated to keep my dang mouth shut.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound like it's very good, but I guess we'll talk off air. But you were here to talk about a game by the name of Ravenbound. This comes from developer Systemic Reaction and was provided to us by Sandbox Strategies. I am very intrigued by this trailer and by its, I don't know if moniker is the right name, but its description of an open world roguelite. Would you say that's an apt description?
Pretty much. And I should also specify for the people at home, everything's fine. I'm just goofing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everything's fine with life. I'm good. Yeah, it is an open world roguelike, but it's, well, yeah. Let's just say they probably wish I had signed an NDA about it, but yeah, it's based on Slavic lore, so the story's less, Norse mythology and more Polish, more like.
Oh, okay.
You basically play as, the titular Ravenbound, who is dropped into this world. You go through the tutorial teaching you about the combat and the grappling hook, which is cool. And then you're dropped in the big open world to take down the various dark forces and save the world.
Yeah, it's a 3D open world environment, which I don't feel like we've had an open world roguelite. Or it's interesting that they said roguelite, not roguelike. Is there a differentiator there, and what is this?
So the differentiator is the presence of permanent upgrades. So for instance, Rogue Legacy, way back in the day, is one of the first examples of a roguelite where you could permanently upgrade your character and the game would get progressively easier because you would get progressively stronger. A roguelike with a hard K is more like Binding of Isaac, where maybe you unlock more stuff and that gives you the potential of better runs, but you also start with the exact same stats every time.
Gotcha.
Ravenbound is more in the light category because you can unlock various power-ups that will make future runs easier. The basic gameplay loop is you are in that big open world. You can turn into a raven and 3D fly all over the place, which is cool. And then you get to either like an enemy encampment or a crystal that you have to destroy, or find a boss or a dungeon, transform out of raven form and, go in swinging. And it's sort of Soulsy in the sense that there is a dodge roll, but there's not really a stamina meter per se. And, if you get beat up, you die, you invest your hard-earned currency into some permanent upgrades maybe, and then go back out in the world and try again.
So how big of an open world are we talking? Because, if I got to hike or fly a great distance to get to something interesting, I feel like that's going to be a little bit of a letdown. Am I wrong?
It's too big. It is too big. Yeah. The fact that you can fly everywhere is cool in concept, but the fact that you have to fly so far to get to anything, like literally anything, it's a big open world that also has very little in it. You are effectively flying through and across an empty landscape toward, the next enemy encampment or, the next crystal. And it's, let me put it this way. The ideas are there. It's really cool in concept, Slavic world, sort of Soulsy, very fast-paced combat, and I'll get to that in a second. Flying around a big open world that gets randomly generated every time. Interesting in theory, but the world itself is, like I said, empty, bereft of pretty much anything interesting. You just go to one destination, clear it out, and then run back to a Raven platform. Like, you can't just transform back into a Raven on command. You have to run back to a Raven platform, which might be very far away.
What a weird choice.
Yeah. And the combat itself is very, very button mashy. Enemies have a ton of life. They are not really hard to deal with because you have effectively infinite dodges. You have a parry mechanic that can translate into additional damage. You have a super meter that'll allow you to do additional damage for a short period of time. But enemies just take so long to kill, and you don't really have special attacks or different combos beyond just swing, 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 maybe parry, swing, 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 super meter, swing, 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 swing. It's really not exciting from a gameplay standpoint.
Wow. That's like it says, it sounds like such a cool concept and a cool idea, but it just sounds very repetitive and samey.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the ideas are there. Like the idea of an open world that you can fly around and land at your destination and attack enemies and then fly back up and go somewhere else. That's a cool concept. I would love to death to have a game that executes that really well. Ravenbound doesn't, because there's nothing really to explore or do in the world beyond, one destination on the map, next destination on the map, next destination on the map. It's a very pretty thing to look at, but, I wouldn't want to visit there.
I'm having flashbacks of, and this is a weird example because the game is actually good, but in Wind Waker, back in the day. As much as I love that game, but like sailing from place to place just felt like a slog because all I wanted to do was do the next dungeon.
Yeah, and the thing is, I remember Wind Waker had fast travel of a sort because you could use the musical instrument. It was really just a baton, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
and then there was a tornado that would like whisk you away.
Yeah, a tornado would whisk you away, or you could get the wind to blow in the direction you wanted. Yeah, this is certainly worse than Wind Waker, and I do also want to mention, in case anyone's still curious about it, they do have a forced always online type of gameplay. It's a single player game, but you have to log into their servers in order to play the game at all. To even get to the title screen, you have to log into their server. So if you, for some reason, can't log in, either your internet's down or their servers are down or their servers have some sort of bug that's preventing you from logging in, you can't play at all.
That thing that everybody complained about the future console generation potentially becoming and causing the console manufacturers to change that, they decided to go with that in this game.
Yeah.
So did you have any difficulties logging in?
Oh yeah, no. The first day, I went through the tutorial. I played through, essentially one round. I played until I died, and then came back the next day and tried to log in, and it was telling me, you can't log in. Error. You just can't play the game. And I Googled what to do about it. I looked at the Steam forums, and they had some tips for getting it to work again, and it did work. And then it happened again. And so, I did the thing again, and then it happened again. I kind of gave up on it after a bit.
That's an interesting choice to make a single player game require an online. Is it a DRM reason, do you think? Or
no, there's certain data, like, I don't want to say leaderboards exactly, but there's certain data that gets shared and they use that to compare, your abilities to other folks. But it's also one of those things where it very much was not required for the gameplay experience, and it should have been something that's opt-in rather than you have no choice.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't sound like you're going to be highly recommending this one, unfortunately.
No, I mean, even more than Wind Waker, if you want a really, really cool open world experience with lots to explore, I would suggest the Xenoblade games on the Switch. Mm-hmm. And I would also, if you can somehow get your hands on it, Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. You want a game that's fun to explore. Holy cow. Oh, I still have dreams about that game. It was so good. You could get a mech and fly through the entire world.
All right,
so good.
You're selling me. Well, again, this is Ravenbound. Sorry it wasn't quite what you were hoping it was going to be, man. But maybe with some patches later or maybe some changes, this could be something.
Like I said, the bones are there. If they make a sequel and just improve on all of the things that I said were terrible, it will probably be a pretty amazing game.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, hopefully that does happen, man, because it sounded, like you said, great in concept. But, well, in the meantime, can you, before we let you go, let everybody know where they can follow you? I know you've got a YouTube channel where you do some video reviews and whatnot.
Yes, indeed. You can find me at youtube.com/relplays. That's RELLE plays.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Catch you later.
Later.
Well, there you have it. Thanks, guys, so much. I really appreciate it. Before we move on to our topic, I want to remind everybody about ways that you can follow The Gaming Outsider. First off, our Facebook page is facebook.com/groups/thegocast. We also have a Discord server. We'd love it if you joined over there. There's a link in the show notes. And also our website, thegamingoutsider.com. You can find every single episode. You can read editorials that we don't write. You can also find all the podcasts on there if you want to check that out. But we do also do written content. And recently, my review of the Super Mario Brothers movie is up there. Murderous Muses by Alyssa is available for your reading pleasure, as is Nexomon Extinction from Nate and Freshly Frosted from CB. And lastly, I would like to ask everybody, if you are listening to this on iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, please drop us a review. We really do appreciate it. It helps us get the word out, and we'll read it on the show for you. Or if the app that you use offers a review service of some kind, let us know what you think, and we will definitely read it for you on the show. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. The Super Mario Brothers movie is doing well, so it goes without saying that we'll definitely see more animated films based on video game properties in the near future. We wanted to discuss which franchises we'd like to see get the animated treatment. So before we get into specifics, I want to know how you guys feel about the success of animated films over live action. We talked that Super Mario Brothers is over the 500 million mark. I think today I saw that it was up to 728 million by the day of this recording. But we've clearly never seen a live adaptation go for that. It's the animated movies that are doing really, really well there. Do you think there's still a place for movies where we're seeing real life set pieces, practical effects, and well-known actors on the screen surrounding our favorite properties, or do you think animation is the way to go?
No, of course. I mean, you could just look at the success of The Last of Us to prove that.
Sure. Yeah.
People are still excited about live action stuff. Mario is something of an exception in my eyes because it making $1 billion is like a foregone conclusion as soon as the movie is announced because it is a movie that appeals to all demographics.
Mm-hmm.
It appeals to old people who are like, I used to play Mario. It appeals to young kids who are like, oh, I just played Mario for the first time. I love it. It appeals to casual gamers that are like, I play Mario. It also appeals to elitist gamers that are like, I've always been playing Mario. It appeals to absolutely everybody. So making that kind of money is no surprise. But I think you'll see a definite rush to try to make animated movies based on video games now. They will learn all the wrong lessons, of course.
Mm-hmm.
They'll think it's just about putting a brand in front of it or whatever. But I absolutely think live action with suits things. I mean, just Nintendo alone, I think Zelda would work better in live action. I know, and or like Metroid's kind of creepy sci-fi aesthetic. I feel like is going to work. It would work a lot better with like an alien set design than something animated. So,
right.
I certainly, of course, think that there's plenty of room for both. You can love both, absolutely, and I sure hope you like video game movies because we're going to be seeing a lot of them pretty soon.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case for sure. I want to reach that level of excitement that the Marvel franchise got. You know what I mean? Where everybody is going to see this. We're getting that somewhat with Mario, right? Which I'm not saying it's an easy sell, but that's the lowest of low-hanging fruit in terms of video game characters, right? Like,
of course.
For the reasons that you just said. I want to get to where we have movies based on video game properties that everybody is talking about. Like comics got their chance. You know what I mean? Or they're still in it. Let's be honest. Like they're still very much in it. Star Wars is still very much in it. Those nerds got their stuff. I want my nerds to get their shine here too, and where these movies are making $1 billion.
I think for me, it's just the movie or TV adaptation is always going to be worse when it comes to video games because it is always going to be not an interactive. So I don't really need these movies as much.
That's an interesting point. Do you think that you being a comic book lover, do you think it got better with the films?
There were some, yes. For the most part, I don't know. There's a lot of silly stuff, and we're not talking about hyper time yet in the movies, but I feel like the movies have started to lose me as they've gone into like the quantum realm and the multiverse and stuff. All the stuff I've actually not liked about comics over the years is starting to make its way into the movies. So I think much like comic books, video game adaptations are probably going to start off strong and people still have heart in it. But you're going to get a few years into the cycle and it's just going to be a bunch of soulless cash grabs.
I will say I did see the Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania. That felt like the most forgettable movie in Marvel I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and as a DC fanboy, I felt that way about their past few movies. So, like I think Shazam was a total letdown. Black Adam was fine. That DC League of Super Pets was an atrocity.
Oh.
But
Alyssa, what do you think? You think there's still a room for live action video game movies, or?
I do. I think it really depends on what the video game genre is, whether that would translate better to animation or live action, but I do think there is room for live action film adaptations of video games. Like Zack said, though, it's hard to get a video game story that is interactive and translate it to something that's not interactive and have it connect with an audience in a way.
Is that why we like these stories so much? Do you think it's because we were part of them, or do you think they would have been good stories without it?
I think I don't want to interrupt. Sorry, Alyssa.
Oh, it's okay. No, I think with video game stories, I think one reason we like them so much is because we become these characters in a way, and we're moving them and we're influencing their actions to an extent. Whereas when you're watching a movie, you don't have any say in that, so you're not shaping the story as much. Even if the story's already set in place, you feel like you're shaping it. So there is a lack of that interactivity when you're watching a movie or TV adaptation.
Right. And even if the story is linear and, like The Last of Us, right? Totally works without the control in your hand. But I certainly identified more with Joel when I'm helping him make all of his decisions.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So the coloring, the shape of the coloring book might be the same, but you're helping pick out what colors go in there,
It's a really cool analogy, man. Well done.
Oh, well, thanks.
I've kind of said my piece already, but I want more of the live action stuff. I want that level of love and budget to go into some of these properties that I've loved for so long, which you just talked about with Metroid. Got me super excited about that prospect.
See, you get the right director, man. It's gonna be awesome. But I think the true, what video game movies I want to see? More stuff like Tetris. I want to see more of these behind the scenes stories.
Yeah,
show me how the Game Boy got made.
Dude, I got so excited watching the character see the Game Boy for the first time, like behind closed doors, And I know he's acting, but Taron Egerton totally sold me on just the wonder he had about being able to play Tetris or any of these games in your hand.
So can you imagine?
Yeah,
being in that room, that'd be crazy.
Yeah,
I want to see the movie about Jack Thompson trying to take on Rockstar Games.
It's gotta happen, right?
Right,
it's gotta happen.
That would be interesting.
Those kind of things would be so fascinating. You would end season 1 with a hot coffee mod being discovered or something like that.
Yep.
It would be good stuff.
That'd be really good. Well, let's go ahead and move into our list. We got some from us and our listeners. We know there's a lot coming in terms of live action video game adaptations, but it's clear there's a market for animated films based on beloved properties. So which franchises would you like to see in the future now that Mario's had his chance to make tons of money?
Well, for me, it's kind of difficult because every time I think of a franchise I love, it's already got an animated film.
Right.
Most of them are anime, but I mean, it's really hard to just narrow it down, especially certain video games I don't think would make sense being animated, but I could see there being potentially, like a Crash Bandicoot movie or, something of that nature. I would say Spyro, but I don't know if that's too old now.
I think you could totally make that into a children's cartoon, a television show.
I think that would be really cute if they did it well. Or you can make a kind of a multiverse movie where all these iconic characters from certain franchises like PlayStation or Nintendo kind of all come together.
Oh, wait till you hear Paul's idea. In a little bit.
Did I just steal his idea?
No.
Oh, okay.
His goes a step. You know what? Let's just read it. You want to hear Paul's?
Oh, I like that.
Paul says, "Okay, hear me out on this one. A short-run series of shorts in the spirit of Star Wars, Visions, or Tales of the Jedi with Commander Keen." That's how it starts.
Commander Keen?
His adventures and his descendants' adventures leading up to and including Doom Guy. An exploration of the trauma on generational genius converging with destiny and the curse of always being the guy because someone else might get it wrong. Animation is really the only medium that can be suitably balls to the wall for the wacky stories that this would deserve. Actually, I think I just came up with my next D&D campaign. Back off, this one's mine. And he goes on to say, another classic PC era franchise that would be fun to see animated is Leisure Suit Larry, done in the R-rated style and spirit of HBO's Harley Quinn. Completely irreverent and politically incorrect. Will never happen, Paul, but I appreciate the idea.
That's a fun one.
Yeah. No, but I just love his like throwing in Commander Keen, Doom Guy, and Star Wars, like all into, one thing. Kind of like what you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Doom's a great example of it's clear you can't do it in live action. They've tried a few times.
I don't remember the one time, the one with the Rock.
The direct-to-video sequel.
Oh, that's why I didn't hear about it.
Yeah, but I think animation could really show you what Doom Guy's capable of.
I don't know, man. I think live action, that one could be done well. Look at if it had the same tone as Mortal Kombat, that last Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh yeah.
With that level of gore and I mean, you really could have some fun with that. Like Doom Guy is basically John Wick in space, right?
Right. Well, and all the demons are afraid of him, like all the assassins are afraid of John Wick, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you think about he's gonna jump on a guy, stab out his eyeball with his wrist blade, probably throw a double barrel shotgun over his shoulder to shoot somebody. To me, I'm like, that scene's probably already going to be mostly CGI anyway.
True. Maybe you're right. Or they make it like in the style of the Castlevania Netflix series.
Yes,
where it's got that Japanese animation.
That's ideal to me. That's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's going to need those like speed blur lines that they do in anime, zipping around. I think it'd be cool.
Rusty also had a similar idea. He said if they made a Nintendo extended universe with Smash Brothers movies being the main crossovers, that'd be pretty cool. Could you imagine? Like we get a Mario movie, we get a Zelda movie, we get a Metroid, we get Kirby, and then it all culminates into, instead of Avengers, Smash Brothers.
I don't know how many more universes I can take without breaking.
I know, but I mean, the formula worked for Marvel. I know it didn't work for DC, but
right.
I feel like Nintendo would have a better shot to make that work than.
Didn't work it didn't work for the Monsterverse or the Dark Universe either.
Well, they started with that Mummy movie that nobody liked.
Right.
I still haven't seen it. My wife watched it. She said she actually kind of liked it. So
yeah, I thought
I watched it. I didn't hate it. It wasn't the best thing ever. Definitely not better than the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies, but
those are so good.
I only want the Smash Brothers movie if they approach it like the first game, where it's just a bunch of toys that some kids playing with.
I think that's brilliant, man.
I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah, like they do like the Lego movie thing at the end. You just see
almost exactly. Yeah,
that would be brilliant.
Right, and the Master Hand is like his dad coming in to wreck his story that he's building or whatever.
Oh, dude, it's almost too spot on to the Lego movie is the problem.
That's fine.
I like it. Anyway, I jumped the gun a little bit there. So, Alyssa, did you have any others, or did I
don't have any others.
All right, Zach, how about you?
Well, I think Bloodborne would be a great little anime movie. It would be mostly silent, probably, but just a bunch of cool, over-the-top action.
A bunch of grunts and moans while he's fighting.
Yeah, that's fine. I would almost want it to be a silent movie, or because everything feels so gothic and old school anyway that maybe whenever somebody does speak, it's just like title cards from silent era films. With this for the dialogue on the screen, I think it'd be cool.
I'm just hearing the music in the background, like the grainy effect over it.
Yeah, I think that'd be really slick. I think Iconoclast would be a great little animated movie or show because it's just an interesting universe and tone and everything. She's got her little wrench and she's trying to save the world. I think that would be great as an animated movie.
That's such a charming little game.
I love it.
I feel fantastic. Like nobody played.
Nope. But hey, the kid has a poster of it on his wall in Shazam too, so that's something.
What did you say? It's like his brother is the director?
Yeah, his brother's the director. And then I gotta give a shout out to my boy Breakdown. Because this franchise has to live somehow. Give me a 26 episode anime adapting it, because because the weird abilities the main character gets over the course of the adventure is very like anime power leveling up. You know, as the threats increase, as does his connection with his inner abilities, kind of nonsense. And I think all the twists would play very well, even in a linear format. Even if, you know, a lot of the early love of that game is just because it's first person and dedicated to it, you know. But I still think the story itself would work pretty well as an anime. It almost feels like an anime in first person when you're playing it anyway.
Yeah.
And then I want to say, because they obviously couldn't do it in live action and they're never going to try again because of its failure, Prince of Persia. Let's get a Prince of Persia animated movie. You could just do straight up the Sands of Time plot in 2 hours. Be a hell of a film.
I'd go see that for sure.
Oh yeah.
And my last curveball. This is going to be an indie award-winning animated film at the Oscars. Thomas Was Alone. As an animated movie. Yeah. Just an animated movie, all these little squares and
like the quadrilateral is like just running around with no mouths, and it's all voice acted by the guy from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, or, you know, hey, you could get a few voice actors. You know, you could really pump up the budget because it's a movie now. But
I don't know, man. There was something charming about Thomas Was Alone being voiced by the one guy.
That's true.
It could be successful if A24 backed it.
Exactly. It feels like an A24 movie to me. It's like that when Maurice with the shell with shoes on
Marcel the shell
or
with shoes on. Oh my,
yeah.
That maybe traumatized me.
That kind of energy. I haven't seen that, I guess. That kind of energy from the trailers, but applied to Thomas Was Alone, I think it could be an indie darling.
All right. I like it. I mean, for me, you know what my answer is going to be. Like
The Zelda?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of them. For sure. Out of all of them, I feel like the story in Ocarina, starting as the young Kokiri boy, you know, who, you know, you find it is not who he is, but I mean, just it's set up perfectly for an animated series. Like that story is so big, I could feel that being like a series instead of a movie. That's the only problem with that is like I feel like there's too much story in a Legend of Zelda game for it to be one movie.
What's the problem, I think, with most video games, right, is that just due to their nature, they tend to be longer stories, so you kind of a series can work better for most of them.
Right, but I mean, something like Zelda is automatically set up for, you know, for episodes. You know, each dungeon could be an episode. Like, how do we get to this dungeon and then get to
a grand epic?
Yeah. So I can't decide if I would prefer that to be animated or live action, though. Like, and I honestly don't even know what to do with Link as a character, because he's been mute for every single game up to this point. Are they ever going to pull the trigger and just make that a thing? Is that going to be a big surprise in Tears of the Kingdom? That
he's voiced by Chris Pratt?
No, my God. Wouldn't that just be a huge thing? Like you get to the end of the game and Link speaks for the first time ever?
Yeah.
That would be...
I would do that voice actor. Talk about the legacy. You could just say one line and you're going to be historical character.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I could see it going either way, animation or live action. Maybe you can make a recurring joke where he keeps trying to talk and everybody just cuts him off.
That would get old really quick.
Think so?
And that would only work. That would only work in a movie. You could not get away with that in a series.
All right, fair enough.
Like
maybe that's why he doesn't talk, because people kept trying to he kept trying to talk and people interrupted him. So now he's just like, you know what? I'm never going to talk.
No, but in the games he talks, right? Like you don't hear him talk, but he's clearly speaking because they're responding to what he's saying.
I was saying he's definitely talking in Breath of the Wild because you pick what he says.
Right.
Okay,
so like it's not like he's mute. It's just that they've never given him a voice.
Oh, okay.
Right. Which I think I don't think I'd ever want a Zelda game where he talks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for a show I would almost need him to.
Right. I mean, I think I would need him to in a movie as well. But
yeah,
I don't want the movie to be the one that does it first. You know what I mean? If they're going to give him a voice, he has to have a voice in one of the games first, and then bring it to a movie.
See.
I think other ones that I think would do well in terms of money, but not necessarily something that I want for myself. I think an Overwatch animated show would be great. I mean, look at what Blizzard is doing with those characters in those opening cutscenes and everything already. How is that
Right.
not an animated movie or show at this point? I think that's low-hanging fruit, as would be Fortnite. I mean, you're
Yeah.
running out of time
Oh yeah.
for Fortnite to... I mean,
I would say they did run out of time for Overwatch. I don't think anybody would care now.
you don't think so?
No.
I think Fortnite's still in the mix, but I feel like that's starting to wane a little bit. I think some of that audience is starting to grow up and realizing that there's other cool games out there besides Fortnite.
Right. There are games with actual stories.
Yeah. So I think that would be an easy one. I think they are making a Minecraft film, aren't they not?
Yeah.
And I
Jason
Jason
Momoa.
Momoa.
Jason Momoa. So again, that one's going to do very, very well. I don't see a problem with that. You already mentioned Metroid. I want a Metroid series so bad. I don't know why I love that story so much, because it's not like it's a super in-depth story, but I feel like you could make it in-depth. You could just go through so many different interesting things and do the callbacks. And I remember seeing that, because that was the beauty of Metroid, is as I grew up with Metroid from a kid in the NES days to eventually Super Nintendo and GameCube and beyond, it was so cool seeing those recognizable enemies and characters that I used to see in pixelated form in 8 bits back in the day, and now seeing them in 16 bits and then eventually in 3D and now in HD. You know what I mean? I love seeing that maturation process of Metroid while still getting new stories, and they keep doing a good job of reinventing the wheel. I think they should do an animated series of Samus's backstory, like before Mother Brain was anything, like how she grew up was raised by the Chozos.
I would love to see Samus hunt even one bounty.
Yes, yeah,
That would be nice.
I mean, it could be like what you thought that Mandalorian was going to be, right?
Right.
Like, where like you go out just to do whatever job. Like that's what Metroid should be, an animated bounty hunter mission with some brief glimpses at her being raised. Like her history with the Chozo, because I've not read the graphic novel that's based on or anything. I don't know much about that lore. I want to learn it, and I think I would much rather learn it that way than going to the original source material.
Do you end season 1 with her crashing on Zebes?
That would be... Wait, is it... She crash landed on Zebes?
No, she lands. You're right. She lands in the game. But
Yeah.
I was just saying, for her getting to Zebes would be how you end the first season, right?
Yes, or the end or the after credit stinger if you're doing a
Right.
film.
Yeah.
Like it would just be this iconic shot, and then that's when you play that infamous music from the first game.
Oh yeah, great music. Well then, because then the show you could also go into where she's got beef with Ridley, so you
Yep.
can see all of that.
Yeah, because that all spawned back when she was a kid, right? Wasn't she
Right.
kidnapped by Ridley or something like that? That's what
Her,
started.
her family was killed by Ridley or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would just make it all make more sense, and then
We can
it's
see
such
more of this
gravity.
intense relationship she has with Adam, her commanding officer.
Yes. By the way, I do have my copy of Metroid Other M. I just need to get a Wii from Baronsmeyer. So
You can, yeah.
I am going to play through that game. Also, I think there's potential, not necessarily for me. I think there's potential in a Kirby series. I just like a Kirby television animated series for kids. I think that would be great.
I can see the ads now. He'll suck it all down.
Yeah. That's exactly so weird.
That's his power.
I know, but we just automatically assume anything you say, if there's a way to take it dirty, that's what you meant. So we kind of
that is what
Yeah.
I meant in this scenario
Well,
for
I
sure.
mean,
Yeah.
the last game had big mouth mode.
Yeah,
See,
it's true.
it's not just me. Nintendo knows what they're. Nintendo's out there being horny on Maine.
Boy. So that's my low hanging fruit. I would love to see a resurgence of Captain N, but like do it right. Like the idea of a kid getting sucked into the TV and meeting actual Nintendo characters, it will never happen. Although that could be the catalyst. We were talking about Smash Brothers,
Right.
like being a thing. They could be like a nod to Captain N somehow. Like the main character, it could be just as simple as the kid with who's playing with these toys. His name is Kevin. It could be that simple.
Right. And an entire generation of 50-year-olds would squee out in glee.
I like the thing is you couldn't get away with him like wearing a leather jacket because do kids even wear leather jackets anymore? I feel like that's a thing from the 70s and 80s.
I didn't remember seeing kids in leather jackets when I was in school.
Like, because that's the thing, and he's wearing like a leather jacket, but it's an N for Nintendo instead of his own name, which was.
I mean, I still think they're cool, but again, I never saw anyone wear one when I was in high school.
Yeah. So, those are my picks. I just think that, Metroid, Zelda. I mean, I know I'm going mostly with Nintendo properties because I feel like that's the easiest way to go. And now that Alyssa's mentioned this, like bringing them all together into a universe at the end. I want that to happen so bad. I want it to happen. Like, just the possibilities. Like, just imagine I don't know how in the world you make a movie about Smash Brothers. Like, I really don't. Although they kind of tried with the last.
I was going to say, it's practically what Endgame was. It was just a bunch of action figures smashing together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was so much story leading up to it. There's not much story. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, let's be fair. Have you seen the Mario Brothers movie yet, Zach?
I have not.
There's not story there.
No.
There's nothing.
It would be dishonest to Mario if there was.
Yeah. Oh, I know. One last question I wanted to ask you guys, and I meant to write this in here. Clearly, we're going to get at least one more Mario movie. There's just no way they're not, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like they're not going to be outdone by Sonic.
No, I think Illumination will now alternate between Minion and Mario. Minion, Mario.
Yes.
Yeah. I had no idea that last Minion movie made that much money, by the way. Did you see it was like, what was it, $974 million or something like that?
Minions are huge.
The power of the minions.
I had no idea that movie they made that much money. Anyway, what direction? Well, it's hard for Zach to answer this. Well, you haven't seen it either, have you, Alyssa?
I have not, but I've got that dang Peaches song stuck in my head 24/7 now.
Yeah, me too.
I've thought about seeing it for the past 2 weeks, but when I get to the theater and I see that there's 1,200 kids in there, I'm like, there's only one movie all of these kids are here to see.
Right.
Oh, yesterday.
I do not want to be there.
I went to the movie theater, and when I left, there were so many families in line, and I'm just assuming they were going to see Mario because that's the only family-friendly movie playing here. I'm like, dang. That's a long line.
Did you know you could pre-order the 4K physical version like the day the movie came out? When did
that's common, though. Yeah, that's common.
The day of?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
That's just bizarre to me.
You can usually go on Best Buy's website and pre-order, whatever Steelbook exclusive they have pretty much the day the movie comes out.
It's selling out.
Yeah.
Like Wario 64 is like keeps posting like, hey, it's available again. Hurry, grab your copy now.
That's weird.
Selling out.
That part's weird, but yeah.
Anyway, I mean, it's not spoiling you to tell you the plot of the movie, right? Can I tell you the plot?
I don't think so, but I don't know if our listeners agree.
I mean,
fast forward 30 seconds, I guess.
I mean, I don't even know if I could. Now, if I were to give like little details about some of the Easter eggs and stuff, that would be spoilery. But
I can't believe that. Is that the world we live in? Easter eggs are spoilers? References are spoilers?
It's just something fun to experience. It's not like it's that's the fun for the movie. Is not this. The story was not the fun part. The fun part was seeing the characters I love and seeing all the references peppered throughout the thing that just gave love to video games in general and not just Mario. That's really why I liked it.
You've told me this, and other people have also told me this, and it makes me not really want to see. Like, I haven't heard why the movie is good yet.
I mean, the story is not the story brings nothing interesting to the table.
Right.
It's
it's just to be covered in warm fuzzies for the stuff you like.
It's just catalyst to get to the next motif that is something from a Mario video game.
Okay.
The reason that they are using carts at all in that movie is just like the stupidest reason. It's just like, well, guess we need to use the carts.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's almost exactly the line that's said. Like,
and I'm happy that works for some people. I don't want to yuck anybody's yum.
Mm-hmm.
But when I hear that, I'm like, but I've already played Mario Kart. Being reminded that Mario Kart exists does not fill me with excitement.
I understand.
Yeah.
But it's not.
But
It's.
But I'm happy that it brings people joy, because if you can find joy in anything in life anymore, good
Right.
for you.
Well, let me break it down to bare bones for you. Mario is in the real world, gets sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom. You know this from the trailer.
Well, and because of the excellent movie from 30 years ago.
Right. Bowser gets Luigi, so Mario has to recruits Peach, Donkey Kong, and others to go rescue Luigi. And it ultimately culminates in a final showdown with Bowser, because Bowser is in love with Peach. Okay, that's pretty much bare bones.
I played a Mario game, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that really spoiling the movie?
No.
It doesn't feel like it to me, no.
So what do you want them to do next for the next Mario animated movie? What? There's so many directions they could go. And what do you think they should do, or versus what would you want them to do?
Oh, I guess the easy answer to me would be Wario and Waluigi.
Okay. That's a very popular answer.
Yeah. Well, it was because it just feels like the no-brainer answer, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, from the Smash Brothers standpoint, yes, that's where those kids know those characters. They don't know them from Mario Party or WarioWare or the Mario Land games, right? They just know them from Smash Brothers.
I see Bowser hunts down Professor Egads from the Luigi Mansions game and has him create these clones of Mario and Luigi, but they go wrong. And then you have Wario and Waluigi. Now you get a Luigi's Mansion reference in there as well. Perhaps he works out of the spooky mansion. Maybe he kidnaps Mario to make the clones, and Luigi has to rescue him in the first act of the movie, Luigi's Mansion style even.
I could see them doing a whole Luigi's Mansion as like a direct-to-DVD.
Right, like a streaming exclusive movie or something.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
What about you, Alyssa? Where would you like to see them go with the Mario franchise in terms of animated film?
I don't really know, because I don't have a lot of experience with Mario games. There I go again, the second Nintendo property.
He goes to the beach. And he gets this jetpack.
I think going with the Bowser kids would be a great way to go.
Koopa Troopas?
The Koopa Kids.
Koopa Kids, yes, I'm sorry.
Koopa Kids, like Wendy O. Koopa and Ludwig von Koopa, and I think that would be a natural way to go.
Don't revoke my gamer card, okay? I misspoke. I'm sorry.
I'm the one that's getting their gamer card revoked.
Twice.
Well, yours was issued by accident, clearly.
No, but going the Super Mario World route probably makes the most sense. Personally, I would love to see some references with Mario 2 and Mario 3, although you could make the argument that Super Mario Bros. 2 is not actually a Mario Brothers game.
I dare them to make Mario Brothers 2 the next game, and it just wakes up and it's Mario's dream.
That would be great. Dude, that'd be actually a great way to open up the movie. The movie opens up with him pulling up turnips out of the ground,
right?
And fighting a giant frog by throwing vegetables in his mouth and all this, and then he wakes up from a dream. That is perfect, dude. That's your cold open for Mario, for the next Mario movie. I think that would be so freaking great.
That'd be a lot of fun, yeah.
But how do you like? While I think that going into the Super Mario World and having the cape, and Koopa, Bowser in his like top thing with a smiley face on it, that just feels like a great way to go with the movie. But how do you skip over the raccoon tail and Tanuki suit and Karibo's boot and all that? You know what I mean?
Well, it's like you described the carts. They just get to like a field of spikes or something. Like, well, it's a good thing we have these shoes nearby.
Yeah, right. Just have them randomly in there. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to see what you guys thought, because I think, actually, no, the brothers were the Koopa Kids were in Mario 3, not Mario World, right?
Oh boy, I don't remember.
Yeah, Mario 3 because they came back in Super Mario World, but the Koopa Kids were originally in Super Mario Bros. 3. Yeah,
okay,
100%.
Yeah. Right, because you fight one from like a pirate ship or something, right?
Well, they all had the airships.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I meant.
But remember, you drop
Yeah.
down in the tube in the airship, and then you
Yeah,
Wendy
yeah, the little
Okupa
boss
had
room.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I remember Wendy Okupa specifically. She like these candy cane shaped rings at you. That was definitely Nintendo. And then they brought them back in Super Nintendo as well.
Right,
So yeah, you
okay.
could still have the Koopa Kids Mario 3 and the tail. Oh man, I feel like you'd have to like combine Mario 3 and Super Mario World into the next film to make it because you got to have the cape and the Bowser vehicle thing and Bowser Jr.
I think so.
You could have the whole like I'm his kid, but he likes. Well,
Think
what
of
is
all
the
the-
relationship? With Bowser
Think of all the
Jr.?
toys they could sell
Yeah, dude.
with all these Koopa kids.
Yep.
Does he tell them all that Peach is their mom and lie to them? Or is it just Bowser Jr.?
By the way, if you haven't seen it, there is a I saw it on TikTok, a video of the song Peaches, but they've dubbed over Jack Black singing a specific song, Tenacious D song instead, and it works kind of well.
Does it have to do with introducing her into anything gently?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
And,
the one to go to.
it was quite hilarious. It doesn't match up perfectly, but it just kind of works. But anyway,
It works
we
a little
got
too well.
a little too well. We got some comments that came from the community as well. We read a couple already, but let's go ahead and do some more. First on Facebook, Zach, why don't you kick things off?
Sure, Sean McGuire says a good Street Fighter.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
that'd be
happening?
nice. An animated one?
I could have swore I had read that there was being an animated Street
Well,
Fighter was coming back.
There have been several.
Have there?
Yeah.
They weren't good.
One
I
of
never
them,
saw one.
I don't know, one of them is famous for having Chun-Li's boobs in it, so that's pretty cool.
Oh,
So a cutaway shower scene that has no purpose to the story at all. But I don't feel like they're bad. They just haven't been great.
okay.
But
I remember
they
watching the
definitely exist.
live action Street Fighter movie and being so disappointed that we finally saw like a fireball from either Ryu or Ken. I believe it was Ryu, and it was just stupid. Like it looked like a bolt of lightning flashed, and that was it. And I was so mad.
M. Bison in that movie is pretty next level, though.
I remember him being pretty cool. Yes, and he did the little spinny thing too in the movie, didn't he?
Oh man, I just remember that he's got one of the coolest bad guy lines ever. With the, for you was the day that your village was attacked and your father was killed in front of your eyes, and the course of your life changed forever. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool, man.
Was that Clancy Brown?
No, it was the guy who plays the Addams Family guy. What's his name?
Lurch?
No, the dad.
Gomez?
Yes, but I can't remember the actor's name.
I can't either. Like the
Yeah.
the newer ones, like the 90s.
Yeah. I guess if you count the 90s one as the newer one, yeah.
Well, I mean the Wednesday one. Oh yeah, I forgot that they do have the parents in that one. Okay,
Well, they also have 2 animated movies that happen.
that's true.
Anyway,
All right, Alyssa, you're up.
Okay, about this username,
Just say the last name.
Okay.
Oh boy.
because I was like, I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Salam writes, definitely Metroid, and I want it done by the folks that did Castlevania. God of War would be cool. Mass Effect should have a series.
Okay, I'm on board. I would rather see God of War live action than animated.
Yeah, I would as well.
I would rather see God of War animated because I feel like it's mostly going to be CG anyway.
That's true too.
I don't know. Well, I guess some of the enemies would be. Yeah, you're right.
When like all the giant god fights, when Baldur's throwing an entire tree at Kratos, they're almost certainly going to use live action
Good
for that, CG for that. So I feel like at that point it's like the Transformers problem where I'm like, this is already 90% of the cartoon. I
Yeah.
wish you would just go the whole way.
Yeah, I agree with him on Mass Effect just because I'd like to actually experience that story.
Mhm.
So
Hey, the games are right there, man.
I know, and I have the collection, the remastered collection too, and I still haven't.
They're pretty good.
Sean Coates says, I think adapting F-Zero would be a cool idea. It can be a series, fully CG, and can focus on the origins of Captain Falcon. Keeping with Nintendo, a Star Fox adaptation. How did I miss Star
yeah,
Fox?
I mean, what am I feel like such a fool now.
Oh,
Sean,
that's perfect. A Star Fox adaptation would be pretty sweet too. Also, Charlie Day has expressed interest voicing Luigi in a Luigi's Mansion movie. Great minds. And Seth Rogen would absolutely be on board for a Donkey Kong Country movie. I'm envisioning a Nintendo cinematic universe. I think we all are, Sean. He finishes up and says,
God forbid movies just stand alone, you know?
Hey, when there's money to be made, man. Also, has anyone seen the animated Mortal Kombat Legends movies? They're pretty good, well animated, and super bloody. I have not. Have you guys?
I have not, but the super
I
bloody
have.
parts draw me in.
They're pretty fun, and they are very bloody, especially the first one, Scorpion's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
They're also written by Jeremy Adams, who's he's a very good comic book writer.
Nice.
Just to know. Also, I mean, of course, Charlie Day and Seth Rogen said they would want more work, though.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I think an F-Zero animated series would be cool, but only if they could somehow replicate the look and feel of a 90s anime.
I'm with you. Yeah,
that would be perfect for F-Zero. That era of anime. But dude, yeah, Star Fox. What were we thinking?
I don't know how I didn't even think of that one, because that's just perfect. Like on so many levels.
Could you imagine the dark middle chapter that would be Dinosaur Planet? Oh, in your Star Fox movie trilogy would be great. I would love it.
I know you would. You'd be you and one other person, and then that's it.
We'd be the biggest
Everyone else
fans.
would be lost.
Star Fox rules.
You're up, Zach.
Jumping over to Discord, Brandon Lloyd writes in, Zelda's an easy one. Heck, most of Nintendo's would be good. Kirby might even be good. That's right, when he's sucking it all down. Smash Bros. Movie would be crazy. I think a Metal Gear Solid animated movie would be killer. I just don't know about being a box office success, but for streaming service, maybe. MGS is in the vein of what Resident Evil CGI movies would be amazing. Those are pretty great. Those Resident Evil CGI movies are pretty great. I think the next one, Death Island, is that the first time all 4 characters are in one story together?
I believe so.
The 4 big leads, and also Rebecca Chambers is there. But I think that's the first time Chris, Claire, Jill, and Leon will all be in the same adventure, which is
I think so.
Crazy to think of. That it's the Avengers Endgame of Resident Evil.
See? You're okay with it there.
It's all that's happening. I'm okay with it because they're not building up to it with 16 after credit scenes. So thank you.
I like it, man. I love sitting around and waiting to see what I got coming up in the near future. I like that.
I like the after credits for John Wick is pretty great.
Yeah?
I can't wait for John Wick to come out digitally.
I still need to watch the first. I want to go back and watch the first 3. Anyway, moving on. Alyssa, you're up.
Nifty Plays writes, just give me a Donkey Kong 64 movie, please. That is all.
That'll happen. I feel like Donkey Kong will get his own movie with Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Well, especially he's such a big producer as well, so I'm sure he could get it made quickly if he wanted to.
Yeah. Doomerang says, an Etrian Odyssey movie, a group of adventurers exploring a mythical, unexplored forest with vicious, boss-like beasts preying on them while exploring. The potential for mysterious landscapes and intense fight scenes are all there. I have to admit, I've not played these games, so I'm not certain what he's talking about, but have you guys?
I have not, but I've heard they're really good.
I can see the box art in my head.
Right,
Yeah.
on the DS. Yeah, no, I think he's right, but I guess it would have to be something in the vein of Goblin Slayer, maybe, because it's also about a bunch of adventures going out there. But Rusty writes in...
I already read that one.
You read that. Tim Holland writes in, Infamous only make it a series in the same art style.
Infamous would be a good animated series.
It would be a good series, and I would love, they could do a non-canon spin-off movie that would be the Festival of Blood DLC where he's a vampire, and that'd be fun.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. Man, that first Infamous game was so good. Can you play that one still? Is that available to download on PS5?
No, it's stranded on PS3 still.
Man, that was such a fun game.
It is very surprising to me that they haven't done an Infamous collection.
Right?
They should.
They should.
I would buy that one in a heartbeat.
They're both way better than Second Son.
I didn't like Second Son a lot.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I didn't hate it, but it just didn't capture the same magic that the first 2 did.
Agreed.
I still think I like the original one better than the second one. It was fun, but there's just something about Cole, like by the second one, Cole already knew his stuff and he knew what was going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the discovery with him. And
The origin story.
Yeah.
I feel like I like the first game more overall, but I like the second game's actor for Cole a lot better.
Oh, okay. I mean, they could
Just
just
kind of
have that guy come back for the remake of both.
Thank you. Yeah, remaster him, get Eric Layden in there to voice Cole McGrath for the first game. Done deal.
I'm sold, man. Let's do it. Well, thank you to everybody that wrote in with those suggestions. We really do appreciate it. That was a fun topic. Stay tuned on our socials for next week's topic. We have yet to determine what that's going to be, but we will get it up as soon as humanly possible. And that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate that you stuck with us this long for this episode, as well as this long if you've been a long-time listener. The episode was produced by Kevin Honigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com, STEMAGE music.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, do you have any parting words or recommendations for our listeners before we get out of here?
Yeah, I want to just clarify that Alyssa fully deserves her gamer card, okay? I don't
Aw,
want any
thank you.
miscommunication out here. She knows more about FMV and adventure games than we'll ever know.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I just want to make sure.
Alyssa, how about you?
Well, I watched a movie that I really, really loved, and it's called A Good Person. And I actually watched it with my dad. He loved it too. I didn't expect that. And I didn't really know going into this movie if I would love it because I watched Garden State, which was Zach Braff's his first directorial film the day before. And I liked it, but I didn't love it. A Good Person loved it. It just deals with themes like addiction, loss, grief, trauma so well. And it's so powerful. And Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman are outstanding in this movie. And I did cry during it. It was just so moving. I think it's still in some theaters at this point, but it is also available to rent digitally. Really worth a watch if you can handle those subject matters, but it's really wonderful. Definitely
Nice.
took me by surprise.
This isn't my actual recommendation that I had prepared, but you reminded me. I watched today A Knock at the Cabin, that Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
Did you guys see it?
I watched it. I've seen it twice because I watched it with my dad as well after I saw it the first time. And I read the book.
Yeah, I read the book. I haven't seen the movie yet.
They change a lot from the book to the movie.
Do they? Is the book better?
Oh,
That's a stupid question to ask someone that read the book already.
they're
Is
just
it always?
completely different. That's the thing. Like, the first half is about the same, second half completely different.
Okay.
So, different experiences.
I kind of have a newfound respect for Dave Bautista. I really thought his acting in this movie was...
He was good.
I mean, did you see him in Blade Runner?
I didn't,
He was good in that as well.
Oh yeah, he was one of the better parts of the movie. I mean, the movie's phenomenal. Get me wrong, but
Yeah, I love Blade Runner 2049.
seeing him play a soft-spoken kind of guy, but at his size,
That's what he does in this, too,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
He's very kind. Like, it's very
He
off-putting.
is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Of the wrestlers turned actors, he seems like the most actor of the bunch.
okay.
Yeah.
Also, my real one is a band, which I know some of you don't care, but everyone gives TikTok a bad rap for many valid reasons. But I have discovered recently that TikTok is a great place to discover new music because bands are out there trying to promote. And I came across this band called 408 that I am really digging. I'm digging their newer stuff more than their older stuff after like kind of digging into their catalog. But they just released a song called "We Don't Get High Like We Used to," and it is very reminiscent of punk from like the 90s that I kind of grew up with. I'm not going to say they sound exactly like Blink-182 because they don't. They have their own unique sound, but I'm getting the same vibes from that. And in fact, one of the comments I read on TikTok, they're like, "What is the 408 for?" And they actually said because 182 was already taken. I thought that was kind of funny. So really enjoying this band. So if you like the style of Blink-182, again, not saying they sound exactly like them, check out 408.
Oh, I'm definitely going to check it out.
Let me know what you think, because that song in particular, I liked it so much when I first heard it. They put it on TikTok before the song actually released, and it grabbed my attention so much that I put an alert on so that I could listen to it when they actually released the full song, and now it's on my playlist. It's really good.
I'll definitely let you know. And also another band I don't know if you recommended them, but you talked about them. Would You Kindly?
Yes.
I listened to them on Spotify. Love the music.
Yeah?
So I'm gonna trust you with the music recommendations.
Awesome. I actually heard from her, the singer. She texted me yesterday asking what was going on with R2V2 because we're trying to put together a music concert as well too, and I'm not sure we can pull it off. But she wanted to know if we were still interested. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. Isn't that a clever sound? Like it's just a very unique sound. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Zach. Thank you, Alyssa. It's been a pleasure talking with you guys as always. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Alyssa White, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.